Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is, this is one of my favorite weather mornings of the entire year. This time of the year,
Listening.
it's rainy outside. It's a little bit chilly. It feels like it's early October.
The greens are soft.
Are they?
They're slow. The fairways are a little chunky.
Oh.
That's how I view this.
It's going to feel like mid-October by tonight, by first pitch.
Hey, you know
Playoff
what?
baseball.
Baseball with meaning played in October.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Playoffs?
In a hoodie.
That's what the weather will feel like. No, I like this weather. It's a little bit rainy this morning, light showers through your commute. Who's doing traffic today?
It'll be young Jake.
Yeah, Jake.
I don't want to steal Jake's thunder, but light showers continue through your commute. But it's a little bit chilly. You need a little hoodie or a windbreaker. We got the Nebraska dress code on. I got the hoodie and shorts today.
With your traffic, I'm Gary Sharp.
We do traffic and weather together on the 9s, which is just happened.
Oh,
You
for
should
Tuesday.
walk into the production room and be like, Jake, out of here. I got it. I'm doing it today.
I'm like, fine, go back to bed.
I've suggested that I do traffic, and the people are just not as excited about me doing traffic as I am.
They just don't know fun.
I live and breathe for Joey Colbert doing traffic. No offense to all the other. I love Peter, love Jake, but when Joey Colbert's on traffic, there's nothing better.
What is your so you got Joey as your number one traffic guy. What's your power rating of traffic guys?
Oh,
because you got to throw Mike Neville in the afternoon.
And the
Mike
Golden
Neville.
I would go Joey 1, Peter 2, Jake 3, Mike 4.
Damn.
Mike's the OG.
Yeah, I love Mike, but I like my guys.
Mike could take Joey 7 games.
I like my guys.
I would go Mike, Joey.
Yeah.
Peter's got a good sign off, and then Jake drops in once in a while. Jake's a good plays, gets a couple of bats a week.
He's a good platoon guy. Yeah. He's an Adam Warren, if you will.
What if we threw you on traffic?
Oh, I'd be terrible.
With that attitude, you would be.
Yeah.
I think I would sound good.
Yeah.
I think I would be a good sounding traffic guy. I think I could commute you. I could walk you through what the commute would be.
That's 90% of the battle.
But I think like finding out the actual info, I don't know my butt from my elbow out here. Okay. I really don't. I don't know what
most people don't.
I'm not too familiar with the streets or, what would be.
I think
where the traffic would be.
I think our listeners appreciate about you.
Yeah.
You've lived here for 6 months and you have no idea what town this is.
I have a good idea. I have a good idea of what town this is. I have a good idea of there are just certain, me, there's 7 spots I need to go. Okay. And I know those 7 spots.
The 7 points of Matt.
And I know how to get to those 7 spots. And now more importantly, if I'm in a different spot, I know how to get to the other spot from that spot.
So if you get separated from your group, you just go to Target and
absolutely no idea.
So it's like I know how to get my 7 spots of location would probably be the Hy-Vee on 50th and Center, the Target on 72nd and Dodge, Warhorse Casino,
there we go.
Horseshoe Casino, Tiburon Golf Course, Shoreline Golf Course, and this radio station.
What about NFM?
No,
NFM?
not anymore.
They were so good to you.
No, I do the electronic payments now. I travel to NFM on my phone when I have to, do the D-do and give them all my money. But it's to the point where from my house by heart, I know how to get to all those 7 spots. We've now evolved though.
We moved the building.
We've now evolved to the fact that if I'm at Tiburon, I know how to get to Horseshoe from there.
Of course you do.
If I'm at Horseshoe, I know how to get to 72nd and Dodge Target.
So if you're going on a date with Matt, there you go. And the Chuck, you'll get to know the Chuck very well.
They're in the same
But it's
area.
in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he could still get lost.
Could walk there. I just don't.
I still end up at the airport.
I don't know
Are you going to walk there
today? Hell no.
No. Are you going to walk there during the College World Series?
No.
Because you're going to live there.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna drive from here half an hour before the show ends and just go right to the parking lot where I have to be.
I'm looking forward to that. They're going to get indoctrinated into Josh dealing with you for a week.
I think it's going to go great. I think we're going to have a great time.
I said that before the Spurs played the Lakers in 01.
Seems to disagree with you.
Who's the 1620 The Zone blog?
It's a blog. You gotta go look at it. It's a blog.
There's a lot of blogs.
There's a lot of blogs out there.
A lot of blogs.
I got Peterson minus 17 and a half.
In what? What 17 and a half?
You got to make up some ground.
A lot of blogs.
Yeah.
There's so many blogs.
Yes. So many podcasts, so many blogs. So many hours to fill in a day.
Listen to my podcast, Take 5, on the YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
It's good for me. do so.
We'll go back to 5 days a week during the football season.
I could say something there, but
what? Say it.
You can't go 5 days a week this week because you don't know. You're not a college baseball fan. You're not a college basketball guy. If you're football, you could go 5 days. You could go year round.
I think I'm a college basketball guy. I think I've become a college basketball guy with you. I've learned a lot about it. I can talk about it. College baseball, no, not a college baseball guy at all. But I watch,
and he'll be on every show at the World Series.
Well, it's the College World Series. Those shows. The last thing you want to talk about is college baseball.
That's actually the first thing you told me.
What really messed with those shows is that Phil Steele pushed back his date of his magazine because it would be going through the win-loss records of 130 plus Division I college football teams.
Didn't you and I do Athlon though for that one day?
Yeah,
we had whatever.
People in those shows. Hey, y'all that come here for college baseball, this radio station ain't talking college baseball. Okay, we're talking college football. We're talking everything else. We're talking entertainment. We're talking college football. If you want a breakdown of college baseball, we'll give to you Stitchhead and Kendall and Fitty. But other than that, you're not getting college baseball. All right? You're just not.
Yeah.
You're not getting college baseball. Now, you get some college baseball beginning today downtown because of the Big Ten tournament. And I got a thought. Okay. Because Nebraska plays tonight at 6 p.m. against Michigan State in October weather. Sam Mcun is going to join us a little bit later from the Omaha World Herald. Brian Christopherson will stop by at 9. That's the lineup brought to you by the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Last night also was a really good night to binge. Like you catch up on some shows.
Incredible.
Because there was no playoff hockey. There was no playoff basketball. My team was on. I watched them. Roller coaster of a game. Lost in a walk-off.
Yeah, Ballesteros.
Then hung around and watched the Royals game. FanDuel had a in the 8th inning when Vinny hit a home run. I thought Ryan Lefevre knocked him off the air.
They are. How many technical difficulties can they have in a season? Like
seems like every game.
It is FanDuel. Well, you know what? So I watch more Royals games on the app.
Okay.
And if you're on the app, I guess you're not getting the issues if you're watching it over the air.
Yeah.
So I'm still a cable guy. I still have Cox.
I have too.
So last night was the first time, but when it happened, so the night before TNT missed a goal in the Florida-Toronto game.
Yep.
And then last night, so I think Ryan Lefevre has become a really much a fan. Like every ball that is hit, you think it's going out.
Really?
You got to remember that ballpark, they're playing in San Francisco, and at night it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
Fly
he
ball
goes,
caught.
I almost popped out of bed last night when Lefevre, because Bobby Witt Jr. was hitting in the 8th and he hit a ball and Lefevre's voice, like you would have thought the ball was in the glove, the Coca-Cola display out there at
Alcatraz.
And it ends up on the warning track. And then they go, it's like a glitch. And all of a sudden it goes off and it's like dead. It's like black screen.
Oh, he really did knock him off the air.
He got really excited. And then they start running some commercial. But on my phone, I got the updates, and it says Vinny has hit a home run. And so they finally come back. It's 2-0, and as the inning ends, they go to break, and they show the Vinny home run. But then they had issues in the top half. First time all year I've had the FanDuel issue, but you bring up something. I guess it has been a regular problem on the Royals broadcast this year.
A regular
that FanDuel has had some glitches.
Whether it be they have to call in and announce the game like that, or they just get knocked off and go to commercial. I have to crash the app every time that I enter the app. Every time I enter the app, it's like I have to bash a button that says retry until it exits me out, and then I hit the button. I hit the app again, and then I'm back into the app. I don't know if everybody else is having that problem, but I've restarted my TV, and it's just a weird app. It's just a weird interface. I think it's probably one of those things where they've just launched it pretty quickly, and there's probably some glitches with it. Yeah,
it looks bad. On MLB Network when they go to the Royals feed, oh man, because we haven't been able to watch their broadcast in years, and we're excited to see the Royals. Why do they sound like they're broadcasting this on 38th the spot 40 years ago? That'd be why.
That is way back. I remember that. 38th the spot.
Yeah. RSTN.
That is a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Although old man Jimmy is back. You must be feeling better.
Oh yes. I could elaborate, but
that's good.
I don't want to get canceled.
Are we out? Have we
We're-
pushed them through?
We're pushing it through. We are
we're in the
we are
progress.
Okay.
inside the 5.
All right.
Things are starting to work again.
3
it's
yards in a cloud
fantastic.
of dust.
Yeah, I'm back to my curmudgeon-y ways, but I'm also in a great mood today because I agree with you on the weather.
No, this is great
Yeah.
weather
It's
in the
terrible
morning.
weather.
Like
I don't
to,
know
like
what
to
you guys are
sleep
talking
in, to
about.
walk, like the people
Well, we
out
don't-
walking their
we-
dog.
That's even worse that it's great weather to sleep in because we don't get to sleep in. We have to wake up super early.
Well, we don't stay here for 12 hours. You can always, it's going to be gloomy all day, and you get a little
Mm.
nap in, go to baseball tonight. And hey, if I'm being positive, and it must be a great damn morning.
I'm not
so.
I don't like waking up and walking to my car and it's raining and it's glooming. I would much rather it
This
be
is
sunny.
Great. This is great. This is
and
like
then
early
the sun
October.
popping out.
Hear
and
the
there's a little
narrator
bit of a
say
breeze.
Matt would spend the rest of his career in Seattle as a successful talk show host
No,
for
I would
30
never.
years.
I would never live in Seattle.
Beautiful
ever.
city.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but I
Great
like
beers.
Weather does take a little bit to get used to.
I would.
My mom lived in Juneau, which kind of shares the same rainforest climate.
I like the sun. I like vitamin D.
They
I
have a
don't-
black hole sun there.
I don't know if you know, but vitamin D is pretty big. You know, you kind of need it.
So she said.
It's good for not having depression. And so when you lack vitamin D, bad things happen.
Matt,
And
you work
so-
in radio. Depression doesn't matter on the weather.
Wow. For all
Thanks,
you-
Jimmy.
For all you
Appreciate
young,
it.
inspiring broadcasters that are graduating that want to get into this business,
Don't.
hope you did not hear that last phrase.
I can't wait to go to Jimmy and be like, yeah, I'm kind of homesick. Like I miss my family. And only gets worse.
Because it does.
But the weather for this week with baseball, because you also have the Summit League baseball tournament in town starting tomorrow. Now, they have an all-turf field over at Tal Anderson. I don't think it's going to get above 70 until Sunday.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
it's supposed to be mild
60s
all
the
week
rest of the
long.
I'm a fan of that. I like
Huh.
the 60s.
No. I like this in the morning, and then I like by the afternoon about 85, 86.
No, I can do 70 all day.
Oh, my God.
I could just do 70 all day. I just don't want it to rain because I want to golf.
So he wants to move to San
Still
Diego.
golf. We can still golf in the rain.
I'm so bad at golf that
Are you
like
truly
weather
a wimp?
affects me.
Are you a wimp? Are you a weather weenie wimp?
Would you not play in the British Open?
No, no.
No, I'm gonna sit this one out.
Wait.
I
This
have the
is
opportunity to live in
this-
Seattle. Nope. I have a chance to play in the British Open.
Nope.
Not going to do it.
This is ridiculous.
Not going to do it. I'm not
This
going to
is-
Scotland to
this is-
golf. You
this is
can't make me go to
ridiculous.
Scotland
You-
and golf on a historic golf course.
Nope.
You can't tell me
No sun.
that I'm a wimp because I don't like it when it's raining in the morning. Okay, and yeah, I would prefer
No, I
to
said
golf
you're-
when it's
I said
not
you're a
raining.
wimp. Sometimes your best golfing is when it's wet outside.
Before the hard stuff comes.
I'm trying to think of a good joke to file in there. Can't really find it. Just the cleverness is not working at 6:23 in the morning.
All right. So welcome. We are 3 hours and 38 minutes from the first pitch of the 2025 Big Ten Baseball Tournament downtown. It will feature pretty good matchup. Michigan and Illinois. Sharon Moore and Brett Bielema will be going
yes.
at each other. If this was a football matchup, place would be packed.
It would
That'd be an
packed.
important game in the race for the playoff.
Like the
But
89
as-
Final Four.
But as the Big Ten tournament starts downtown at the Downtown Day Trader, where Nebraska will finish the opening night, I have to tell the 12 teams that are in town, it is not us, it's you. Okay, when it comes to Big Ten baseball, because this is how it is in this city.
That's a great lead.
Dozens of people.
Um,
flocking.
It ain't our fault.
So with the tournament beginning, and the tournament only resonates around here if Nebraska is playing and if Nebraska is doing well. So do not hold it against us if you play a game today and there are very few people in the stands. Just be very grateful that the Big Ten, which, placed the tournament here 8 years ago, and we embraced it when GBRs are playing, is that we still go to the games that don't involve Nebraska. We just don't go them into large numbers. So please do not hold that against us here in Omaha. It's not an Omaha thing. It's a you thing because it's Big Ten baseball. And if Big Ten baseball was a big deal, then your network and your conference would make it a bigger deal, and more people inside of your league would make it a bigger deal. So enjoy your time here.
Sure.
Okay. There will be people tonight. Michigan State, you're very lucky. You just snuck into the tournament. You're the number 12 seed
Yep.
for a reason. You're 5-10 in your last 15. You're throwing a big old left-hander tonight. But just be very grateful that you're playing Nebraska, that there will be a crowd, because 37 different times this year, Michigan State has played before 1,000 or less. But tonight they might play before 3,000 to 4,000 people in a Big Ten tournament on an iffy, rainy night. So, again, welcome. Don't hold it against us. It's you when it comes to Big Ten baseball.
Should we ask these teams? Hey, can you tell that this is a town of a million? Can you tell? Can you tell when you're driving in? Could you tell that there are 1 million people here as opposed to 900,000?
I don't think if you are a team visiting here, now
Go
you're
to
going to
the
have
zoo?
some days off. You're going to go to the zoo.
Yeah.
But you go from the airport to downtown. So you don't
Yeah.
really see much of Omaha. It's not like for the College World Series where you have service clubs and you're able to get out and do some different things and you're able to see a little bit more of the city. Everybody goes to the zoo. So if you're going to the zoo over the next couple of days, you might run into a baseball team there that happens to be playing at the downtown day trade.
Yeah, and walk up to them and be like, it's not our fault.
Hey,
just say that.
It's not us. Don't hold it against us here in Omaha. Hey, we roll out the carpet for y'all and have you play some baseball, including, if I am doing this correctly. So I spent some time yesterday, had some time to kill, so I was looking at the bracket.
Oh, sure.
Is there the possibility, and again, tonight is the most important game of the season for Nebraska.
Without a doubt.
And then we'll turn around and say it's on Friday. But tonight is the most important game they've played all season long. That there could be 3 games on Friday and none of them have any meaning.
Yes. Yes. This is why it doesn't make sense. Okay. It does not make sense what they've done with the higher seed gets the tiebreaker. Like, just do what the SEC does. Okay. Typically, like, I'm all for like being a little different and doing your own thing. But the SEC has had this type of format for a while where they just have X amount of teams and they seed them 1 through 4, 5 through 8, they're 8 through 12. And then they kind of just let them play single elimination. Hey, sorry if you only had to come here for one day. Bye-bye. See you later. Like I don't know why the Big Ten can't do that. I just don't know why this whole pool system where they're in 4 and then
Again, I like the pool. I like the pool idea. Now, I also like the ACC, SEC single elimination. I like the pool idea better than the double elimination marathon.
I never liked double elimination.
You want to make the regular season matter and protect your teams going into the tournament. My only pushback of the pool is the tiebreaker. Again, I think runs allowed. I think this pool. I think this type of tournament will stick, but I think they will change the tiebreaker. But you run into, if you're going to have that tiebreaker, you run into Friday being just 3 baseball games. I mean, I can't imagine if Nebraska doesn't win tonight.
Why the hell would you want to play, and why the hell would anyone want to go to watch them play?
Like Friday would be pretty tough.
Friday would not mean anything. Friday would not mean a thing unless Oregon had lost to Michigan State. Then they would be 0-1. But that's probably not going to happen. Like, Oregon is a wagon, and Michigan State had to make this tournament on the last day of the season. And at this point, Michigan would have some of their worst arms, or not as good arms.
Here is the kicker. Like, if you're Oregon and you're going to be a national seed, and you got a chance if you win your regional to host for Super as well. So your path to the College World Series is pretty good. Let's say Nebraska loses tonight, or you beat. Nebraska loses tonight.
Yeah,
you don't have to pitch your number 1.
No,
like you could just mess around. I mean, you could play the system.
Yeah.
That's why, God, Nebraska doesn't win tonight. I mean, you might as well shut this tournament down.
No,
play on Friday and have Nebraska play while you're showing the super regional game from Knoxville on the video board.
But even if it's not Nebraska, there are going to be games that on Friday just straight up don't matter from other pools. Could be. I mean, more than likely though, when you have enough of these pools or whatever. I have a scouting report for you though.
Okay.
One of my best friends was a catcher at Michigan State.
Okay.
His name's Brian Brecker. He got drafted 2 years ago.
Is he going to tell us about the days that Kirk Gibson played at Michigan State?
No, he's not going to tell us. But he caught tonight's starting pitcher for Michigan State. So I texted old Brian and I told him, "Hey, tell me about Joe Jerwa." Jerwa? Look at me. He goes, "Matt, he's just good. Nothing else. He's just good. Good heater, good sweeper, good changeup. His build and arm slot and stuff is like Chris Sale, but he doesn't throw as hard." So that's what Nebraska's facing tonight. Walmart Chris Sale, which I know it sounds like an insult, but Chris Sale is so damn good that the Walmart version of him is still pretty damn good too.
Now, Nebraska's had some success against him. Here's what he'll do tonight. He'll strike out a fair amount, but I mean, let's don't I mean, don't make Michigan State out to be Oregon. But he's a really good pitcher. I mean, he's second round pick. He's 6'8". I mean, he shoved against Oregon. He pitched a complete game and beat Oregon. So you can't overlook that. Nebraska has seen him before, and he has struck out a lot. But I don't know. We'll get into moving up Ty Horn, which I really, really like that decision tonight. But at the end of the day, Nebraska has to go 4-0. Okay, once they have a 1 where the 0 is, then they're done. Okay, it's over. The season is done, and you move on to the off season and you wait for next year. But again, welcome to Omaha. It's not us. It's you. It's the sport. It's the conference. I don't know. Big Ten Network at least carries all the games, and the announcers they have on are all pretty knowledgeable.
Cutting onions.
But there's no special Big Ten Network shows on site, right?
I don't.
Like they're not on right now doing a 4-hour pregame.
Dave Revson has, I think, his contract still where he didn't want anything to do with baseball. So he's not involved in anything.
That's crazy.
But they don't do anything on site like auxiliary, do they? Except for the broadcast?
I wouldn't know. I don't think so.
At least we have all the games are on TV. But I don't, they don't bring out a show and do it from, where the SEC network and the ACC network do it over in the left field corner.
All these fans behind.
Yeah, I mean, you'll watch the SEC, which is different. And I don't know if the ACC does this, but they're going to draw well in Durham. The SEC network, between games, they will have a live show on site. Like Feinbaum was in Hoover, Alabama yesterday. I mean, it's Big Ten baseball. And if Nebraska's playing, we love it. If Nebraska's not playing, we partially pay attention. But I also think another thing about Big Ten baseball, and probably people that have watched Nebraska know of the pitcher that they're facing tonight because he's pitched against them a couple times, is they're very knowledgeable about this league.
No.
You can't just rattle off player after player, or even what made the Big 8, Big 12 baseball so special, you could rattle off the head coach. Probably might be tough. I mean, you could probably get John Savage because he's still at UCLA and won a national title in this town. You got Tracy Smith because he's been at 2 places.
I know Jake Boss. I know Jake Boss.
Rick Heller at Iowa.
Yeah. That's Heller and Boss are probably the only Big Ten coaches that I would know.
What is it? Wanikowski is the head coach at Oregon.
It's also too now, it's Big Ten baseball that has been completely invaded by Pac-12 baseball to the point where the college world or like the NCAA tournament may not have an original Big Ten team in it this season. And it might just all be the Pac-12 representing the Big Ten, which you can make an argument is probably worse for the Big Ten as a whole, because it's like you don't really associate those 3 teams with the Big Ten, and you have other kids who are looking to go and play college baseball who are like, oh, wow, like none of the original Big Ten teams made it. Do I really want to go and play there? Do I really want to go to a place that I don't really know if they're fully investing in baseball? Like it's been a weird season and a weird look for the Big Ten. Everything from just the tournament to the fact that they're getting dominated by the 3 teams from the West Coast. Like I don't know. You get what you put into it. Like that's kind of what it is.
So the teams that are at the top put in the most.
Yeah.
Now, if you're Nebraska, you're like, man, we care about baseball and we're not even on a bracket. It's the reality of the season, but you know how you change that? If Nebraska goes 4-0, it makes up for the cruddy season because they hadn't done it all year and they'd have to do it here and they'd probably have to knock out a couple of national seeds, maybe in Oregon and UCLA along the way. They go 4-0 here and they qualify for the NCAA tournament. They get the auto bid for the 2nd straight year and they're dogpiling on the downtown Chuck.
All sins are forgiven. All sins would be forgiven.
It would make up for this year, would it? And you could do the what if, but I would say it would make up for the year if they got on a run because they haven't won 4 in a row and they did it here, and a couple of teams they'd have to beat. It would make up for a 500 season, in my opinion.
Any year that you make the NCAA tournament as a Big Ten team, as you know, if you're Nebraska, is a year where everything else before that didn't matter. Like you're just going to look back and be like, yeah, they made the tournament. Like they made it on a great run. You're going to be like, you will not remember any of the like crappy games or the California trip or like the days where it's or the early season games where they couldn't get any of the bats going or the early season games where they couldn't put all of it together. All you're going to remember is, hey, we had 4 magical games where we beat 3 really good teams in order to make the tournament. That's just what it's going to be.
How much faith is out there?
I have zero faith.
Wow, that used to be my role.
No, that's fair. You're definitely not alone.
Like
Because it's going to take to win 4. It's not 1-1. Okay, it's you got to win 4. You got to go 4-0. You don't go 4-0, season is over. But you're not alone when you say
Oregon is
just
really, really good. And it's like, I don't know if I can fully, it's just hard for me to be like, all right, they're going to beat Oregon. And then after beating Oregon, they're going to have to beat the 2 other teams that came out of the pool.
I can't convince you guys that the Huskers is going to kick in.
No.
And this is going to be a run again.
You can convince me. I've seen it before.
Trying to sell you something you guys aren't buying.
I don't. Not this team. This team hasn't won 4 games in a row all season.
Oh, no, I hope they do it.
All season long, they have not won 4 games in a row.
It'll be tough, but I like moving up Ty Horn to pitch tonight. We'll pick Sam's brain on baseball, Jordy Ball, and more when he joins us coming up at 7:30. Brian Christopherson stops by at 9 because we are how many days?
95.
Why you sound so excited?
I just don't like the countdown. I'm just like, it's just
Man,
like
he's
everybody
crapping on everything this
because
morning.
I hang out with you. I've been with you for 6 months.
I am the most positive person you know here.
Whoa, hey, Ryan and RG3, back off, okay? All right, stop. All right. You can join the conversation if you have faith. I want to hear faith. Huskers kick in.
I have no faith.
The Oma Dome is not working today, but at 6 o'clock tonight, will the Huskers work? Yeah. You can join us on the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 402-951-1620. I mean, don't make me be the parent in the room between you two. I don't want this to be embarrassing. All right?
Come sit here.
Do not be talking about his wife. You bring his wife into the conversation.
I like his wife. His wife is great.
She'll destroy you in about 2 seconds.
She would.
Yes. You like her milk?
Milk? Milk or milk?
Yeah, you got it. Mm-hmm. All right, we're back with more Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, Rusty just said 55, windy and cool for first pitch tonight between Nebraska and Michigan State, the Huskers
Hell yeah.
Sounds like Wrigley.
against the Kurt Gibsons.
Great call, Jimmy. I mean, more so,
Wind
it-
blowing in off the river.
it's a hoodie night.
It is.
It's a hoodie night.
It is.
Hoodie and sweatpants, or hoodie and jeans, or hoodie and khakis. I don't know. Maybe if you want to be classy. Classy khakis. Whatever floats your boat. I don't judge. I don't judge a man by the pants he wears.
I don't know that I've seen
Khakis at a ballpark.
in a while, unless they are directing me to my seat.
Unless they're a Michigan man.
Your
I
sweatpants idea might be the way to go.
What if I'll wear khakis tonight? I'll be there. I'll wear some khakis. I'll wear some khaks.
Where have you bought your tickets
Hell no.
beforehand? You want to
No.
avoid the rush?
I'm gonna buy my tickets at the will call.
I do
walk
not
up
know
there.
this. I wish I did. What are ticket prices for individual?
How much do you think a ticket to Creighton baseball cost 2 weekends ago for your boy?
$200.
It was $11 to get in.
Watching Prices Right at night last
Is
night.
that
without sports,
is
so.
that general admission?
Uh,
To be honest, I've never paid for a ticket to go to a Creighton game. I've sat and watched, but usually it's we have tickets.
I don't know, because we just bought the tickets and then we walked in and we sat down. There wasn't any ushers or anything like that, and there wasn't anybody moving us out of our seats. So I'm pretty sure it's GA. Because we had friends that were already sitting there.
$11 actually seems reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Where they was it 11 across the board, or do they like kids or
it was
$5?
11. It was 3 guys and it was $33.
Okay.
So that's what it was. I don't know. I'm going to pay it. I don't think anything under $15 is unreasonable in any sort of like capacity, right? And I'm not just talking about baseball. I'm just talking about in general. Like if it's anything under 15, I think I can handle it. It's just I thought it'd be closer to like 6 or 7.
So you buy for the session, correct?
For Big Ten baseball?
Yeah.
I would not know. I have not looked. I was just going to walk up to the little ticket booth.
Ask
and
if you
be
could go in.
Well, I
Be
think
like,
it,
one
I,
ticket,
I
please.
think okay. Ticket is valid for all 3 games scheduled.
It's a good deal.
It actually is.
If you're a
I don't-
baseball guy.
I don't know if people come to Omaha for the Big Ten tournament unless you're friends and family of the people that are involved. Like, and I don't think Martha and Bob and
No.
Shenandoah say, you know what, we're big baseball fans. Let's go to Omaha for the Big Ten baseball tournament. But
Do
if
you think anybody in Des Moines or Iowa City are going to be like who
They
don't
will.
really have
Yeah,
a
they
the Bumblebees will
Yeah.
show up, and again, if Nebraska and Iowa make it to Saturday, then
That'd be fun.
the crowds definitely will increase. So it looks like here, the whole stadium is $30. So you might see they don't. If I'm looking at this correctly, they don't sell individual game tickets. You've got to buy.
I don't want to buy. I'm only going to go to one game.
Ooh, looks like one ticket gets you for all 3 games.
But I don't want to go to all 3 games.
I don't want to.
That's what I heard too.
I don't care.
I just want to go to
I don't
one
care.
game.
It's too
I
hot.
don't care. I don't care if you're making fun of me. You could say that I sound like a whiny baby all you want. I'm right. I don't want to go to 3 games. All right? I want to go.
I don't want to go watch
I don't
baseball.
I don't want to go and see Illinois play Michigan. I don't. It's ridiculous. I just want to see one game.
ridiculous.
Yes. What is happening, people?
So it looks like it's $30.
I'm
So if
not
you're just
paying
go-
$30.
If you're just coming to the Nebraska game tonight, you're going to pay $30.
I might as well have gone to that high school basketball tournament in Iowa Western. That would have been a way better use of my money. I could have seen Matt Painter gawning over, feigning over 7-footers.
You can.
Instead, I'm going to see very meh baseball. Very above average baseball.
So it's a smart play for the ticketing, but it's difficult for.
I don't think it's a smart
if
play
you
at
just-
all.
Well, it is. Knowing that industry, it's actually very, very smart because
Okay.
you get one ticket for 3 games.
Sure.
and so you can just sell a game pass.
I understand from
for
that perspective.
a day pass, but some places also have it broken up into individual games.
Out of the
That's
fourth,
just they're going to get a $30 to go to one baseball game.
sure,
Mhm.
that's a good point. But like for that audience, out of the 4,000 people who might be there tonight,
Mhm.
out of those 4,000, how many of them are going to end up going to the other 2 games that are going to be played before Michigan State, Nebraska? I would argue not that many.
Mhm.
So I would say that it probably would be more cost effective for the Big Ten if they were to sell, hey, this Nebraska Michigan State game tonight is $15, as opposed to you get $30 for the entire 3 games, because I'm not going to the 2 other games, so I'm just paying $30 for one game. And there would probably be people who wouldn't go to the game tonight, or who won't go to the game tonight because they don't want to pay $30 for each individual ticket.
All right, so our
$30 for a baseball ticket isn't not the cheapest.
So I'm looking at our the secondary market, our partners from Tickets for Less. Looking at about 32.
So
it's $30 to go watch Nebraska tonight, or $30 to go at 10 a.m. and watch the first game. Stick around till 2. You can come in and out of the stadium. I do know that. But
have people at Rocco's really get to know you.
You're there for the whole day.
Is
that going to be your spot?
Rocco's?
Yeah,
already happened, man. That already occurred.
Was there anybody in there?
Yeah. He doesn't know yet.
When I went there, no. Like, we closed it down back-to-back nights, and they even brought me to the kitchen. They gave me a tour of the kitchen.
Wow.
And then they showed
Kevin.
No, Pat.
Okay.
He gave me a tour of the kitchen. And then they spin bats for the Rocco's Jello shots, like the winners, like the custom. Like if you have the most Jello shots in a season, they get a custom bat.
Yes.
Right? So I actually took a couple of pictures with the custom bats in front of the Rocco's Jello shot board. So I got like the Tennessee bat. And then I grabbed my 2 other buddies I was with, and they both grabbed a bat. So there's a sick picture of the 3 of us with bats in front of the
You think he survives June?
I'm going. Everybody is looking at me with this like S-eating grin about the CWS, and
I'm just living vicariously through you.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hear stories of going over to Old Mattress Factory after the games, the concert.
I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Zestos
I'm going home.
moms.
We got a show in the morning. Like, we have to do a morning show, and then I have to go over and then do 2 more shows. Like, when 5 o'clock hits, I'm going home. I'm going sleepy night. Well, I got to go home. Then I got to type up, things for the show. Got to prepare for the morning show. Then I get to go to bed. Then I wake up and do it all over again. I think night 1, I will indulge in. You know what? That's what we should do. If you guys are okay with it, I'll admit it and be like, hey, tonight I'm indulging in the college baseball extravaganza. Tomorrow we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
and I'll walk in all blurry-eyed and everything.
I mean, you're looking at the wrong person. I'm doing more than you are.
I know.
But you should go and party. I hope you do.
You should,
I'll
because you
probably
can.
party one night.
No.
Every night.
No. Every night.
I am not partying every night.
Every night.
When I don't party, it's still a struggle sometimes to wake up.
End up on some random girl named Dixie's couch.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't. Why Dixie?
Dixie?
Somebody's gonna bust Dixie.
I mean,
what? What are you talking about?
I'm not sure I know Dixie. Brad writes into the Equitable Bank inbox about the players who, you come in for the baseball tournament, you land and you drive to your downtown hotel and you spend your time downtown, which at least there's options to do things if you're in town for the Big Ten baseball tournament.
Spaghetti works.
Players should be given a choice, according to Brad. Go to the zoo or Spearmint Rhino.
There you go.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what Spearmint Rhino is off the air.
Real quick. Do you think any of these guys who are coming in for the Big Ten tournament are going to be looking around and be like, oh, they're building a new building right there? Like, they're going to know anything about the new infrastructure of Omaha? They're going to be like, oh, they got a new mayor here? It was a heated race?
Probably not.
Like, hey, this is where the rail car is going to go.
Streetcar.
Probably not.
Streetcar.
Yeah, streetcar.
My bad.
All right, so $30 to go to watch Nebraska, Michigan State tonight.
That's way too much.
Or you know what? Work with somebody that is in town for the early games. They don't want to go to the night game, and they'll sell you their stubs.
Is anybody in town to watch the early games
I'm
and not
trying
go
to
to the
help
night
the
game?
conference.
I know you're
I'm
trying to be positive.
I'm trying. I wish that was the case. I wish, as a baseball guy, I wish, because I grew up in the Big 8, Big 12. I wish it was bigger in this conference, but
It's
in trouble because you got the SEC and the ACC are taking over in baseball, and you have a conference where half are in, half are out. And you have a conference that they know where the bread is buttered. I don't blame Tony Petitti. People say, why does he ignore baseball? He's a baseball guy. You know what? He's a business guy. He is the commissioner of the Big Ten. He knows where the bread is buttered and his constituents, what he has to do, and that's promote football and men's basketball. He can't force somebody to spend money in baseball because you're not going to spend money in baseball in the Big Ten unless you get a return on investment. And on the West Coast, you can make the case that we're going to invest in baseball because we get a return on investment.
Sure.
It's tough in West Lafayette, Indiana. It's tough in Bloomington, Indiana, even though they have made it to the College World Series in the last 12 years. If you are looking at running your athletic department, you're looking, hey, do we have a passionate fan base? Do we have people that want to invest money? Do we want to invest money? And if we do, what's our return? If we go to the College World Series, what does it do for us? If you look at Michigan baseball, they went to the College World Series in 2019.
Yeah.
You know what? You don't want to win consistently in the Big Ten. You know why?
Why?
Because they take your coach. Okay?
That's a good point.
And then you're forced to, now we got to get back there.
You got to restart all over again.
Money and stuff.
Well, another thing is, too,
they know their place.
But at least as a conference, though, just give an effort, though. Make it at least portray as
what do you mean effort?
Give me more billboards. I know we talk about it, but give me more promotion within the town that, hey, this is going to happen. This is an event you should go to. This is why you should go to it. Give me more commercials on the Big Ten Network being hey, this is our new pool. This is our new system. This is why you should care about the Big Ten baseball
or
tournament.
on the station.
And I understand he knows what your bread is buttered and everything like that. But at least make it look like you care. Just make it look like you give a damn. I'm not telling you to put all this money.
They gave us a gift by putting all the games on BTN. Remember, they used to not be on all of them on BTN, and then we said, whoa, and
sure.
Now they put all the games on BTN. It's from the business standpoint, Big Ten's got a great deal here in Omaha. Okay? They got a great deal here in Omaha. As long as Nebraska's playing, they got a great deal. It's just the Olympic sports are going to have to fight among themselves to get a piece of a pie at the table. And as much as we love baseball around here, the reality is not as many people love baseball like we love baseball here in Nebraska. Love college baseball, love our program, want our program to spend money, want our program to be relevant. It's half the conference, basically.
Couldn't have said better.
All right, a little bit later, Sam Mcun of the World Herald will join us. Also, Brian Christopherson here in Matt, 1620 The Zone. All right, NBA and NHL playoffs are back tonight. What is it that Mike Breen says when he reads the promo?
Bang.
Thank you.
Sorry. Jeez, man.
When he reads the promo for the upcoming game, doesn't he, like, tonight's game tips off at 7:30 in Oklahoma City? Doesn't he say, like, a little after 7:30?
Yes.
So what they just start like 7:37 or something?
Probably.
By the time they get all the pomp and circumstance done?
Mike Shannon used to say, we'll be on at 7:02.
I'm a little disappointed Breen isn't getting the Knicks-Pacers series. Like, I wish he had it. Like, I wish he had.
Disappointed.
Like,
I don't awful crew.
So he did last year because they flipped.
Sure. I don't care that he is, because I feel like some people would be annoyed at the fact that he's the like regular TV announcer and, oh my God, Mike Breen's gonna be biased about the New York Knicks. I enjoy it. I enjoy that he likes the Knicks. I enjoy that he is, one of those like bing bong a-holes, and
he does a very good job
does.
for a guy that does the Knicks games during the regular season.
Mike Breen is class.
He is class.
Like 100% class.
He does a good job, but he also doesn't hide it. I mean, people attach Mike Breen with the New York Knicks.
1,000,000%.
But last year he handled it very, very well.
But this one just means a little, like, I was watching Winning Time last night.
Okay, that's why you sent me that text.
Yeah, I sent him a text, a picture of Cheryl Miller, and I captioned it with, if this was my sister, I would also be in the NBA.
I wake up in the middle of the night, I was like, whoa, what is he sending? Oh, I
Just a picture of Cheryl.
thought he was watching Total Recall and the girl with the 3.
That's why and I like both of the series. The Pacers-Knicks will lean into the nostalgia because they'll have Reggie on the broadcast. You'll have Spike Lee sideline.
The great Kevin Harlan calling
it seems like we love the 90s in the NBA, and you'll get so many 90s flashbacks to the Pacers and the Knicks in this series.
You know the Knicks are going to bring everybody to that game, too. I mean, Ewing is going to be there. Starks is going to be there. Is Oakley allowed back into the Garden?
Don't believe so.
No.
Oh, well, maybe they should make an exemption.
Bernard King.
Earl Curitan.
I associate him with the Philadelphia 76ers.
He did throw that hook over
Phil
Green.
Jackson will be there tonight?
No.
You don't see Phil Jackson out in public very often.
No. How old is Phil Jackson?
Old. Late 70s,
He's
maybe?
up there.
Yeah, he hasn't made...
Great book, though.
He hasn't made many public appearances after his breakup with Jeannie Buss.
Phil Jackson is 79 years old.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Late 70s.
He is.
He's been out of the game for a little bit now. But game one tonight between the Ant-Man and SGA.
Let's go Wolves. I got you, Dan.
In McSportsbook
7.5.
So I'm going to give you a little nugget, all right?
A Denver Nugget or a
Aaron
Gordon?
No.
Gary Harris?
I'm not giving you a nugget unless I'm trading to get Alex Caruso on my team. They need a 3-and-D, by the way. 9 of the last 10
You're not wrong.
Conference finals game 1 have gone over.
Oh.
The average is 233 points, so they've gone over by 18. The total tonight for this one is 215.5. As the Thunder, as you alluded to, are a 7.5-point favorite for game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
So the last over for Oklahoma City was 215 points, and they were at 208 with 4 minutes to go. But they brought in all the backups for the Nuggets and the Thunder, and it was just terrible basketball. It was awful basketball. And the over-under somehow with a minute left became like a sweat. And we needed like a 3-pointer made by a dude that I've never even heard of before in order to cash the bet.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander?
I don't know. Maybe McSportsbook dabbles a little bit in the over-under. But knowing me, Matt McMush, I'm going to bet the over. And the under will hit, and it'll be like the first time in like 7 years that the over hasn't hit in the game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
We also have hockey tonight. The conference finals begin on ice. 2
of the original 6.
Florida at Carolina. I thought Florida, after this long run in the postseason the last couple of years, would start to peter out. It seems like they're getting better in the postseason. I know that TV ratings will not be
good
at
all
because Carolina plays such a boring, successful style of hockey.
They're like the Islanders of like 5 years ago.
But this will be, to the hockey fan, I don't know that it matters. The casual fan, if we get to a game 7, the casual fan will jump on.
Hell yes.
But the Carolina-Florida TV ratings might be a little bit.
I think they're going to be awful. I think people are going to look at Carolina and Florida and be like, man, I don't know any history or tradition or anything like that. With
You
these
could tell
two
them
teams.
about your favorite Carolina Hurricane team.
The 2006
Yes.
Carolina
Oh
Hurricanes?
yes,
Yes.
Rod
Did
Brindamore.
Did you see that tweet yesterday? Randomly, Fox Sports was just like, can you name the year that all these teams won? It was actually a great tweet because it really was a random year of like champions. It was the Colts, it was the Hurricanes, it was the Cardinals,
The Heat.
and the Heat. Like so random
Yeah,
in
Dallas
terms
blew a
of your
2-0 lead.
4 winners.
A couple of tweets here. Sergeant Holka's big toe.
What I've done.
I would assume the Omaha Rhino and the zoo are about the same. Zoo probably has less C-sections.
He's not wrong.
Oh, okay. I had to put 2 and 2 together there.
We have educated you on what spearmint rhino is.
Why is it called spearmint rhino? Like, what is
That's
the...
what he took away from it.
Well, I don't give a damn what it
C-sections.
is. Well, I mean, I understand the joke, and I understand why the joke existed, but like, what does spearmint rhino have to do with their section of business? Like, I don't. When you said spearmint rhino, I did not immediately think,
Well,
oh, that
so
is.
I didn't want to
it's
go
that
here,
place.
but you have dragged me into a place
I
at
drag you-
7:05
hey,
on a Tuesday morning.
Gary, I drag you in a lot of places.
That is very true. What strip clubs do you know that have normal names? Why
I mean,
would you?
Like the other room,
Like you
if-
probably did you hit up the Foxy Lady?
like okay, yeah, I know
You did?
No, I've never been to one of those clubs.
Was that pink building that was off of the Waverly exit?
No, that was Shakers.
Oh, that's right.
See, that's a like if you
Yeah,
told
you
me
can't. You can't.
if you
Like if you're
told
gonna
me-
open a strip club,
if you told me
bada bing.
if
You
you
can't like open. That can't be normal. It can't be like
no, if you
like-
told
like
me Shakers,
Joe's.
if you told me Shakers, I'd be like, is that an ice cream shop? And then you'd be like, no, not an ice cream shop.
There's
And then
definitely
I
some
would
cream.
probably get to that area of business. The Foxy Lady, though, yeah. What the hell else would the Foxy Lady be?
The
A
Foxy
salon?
Gentleman. The night before. Yeah, you can't have like a normal name. You get
But the-
like
but-
the Lariat Club,
Okay,
Boomers.
I'm not saying for it to be like, hey, we're going to Jerry's, right? But like Spearmint Rhino, I would never put that together.
Mons Venus.
What?
Somehow in my lifetime, I've been to 2 bachelor parties at Mons Venus.
Is that a German?
Nope.
They
It
were-
is, you walk out the front door and right there is Raymond James Stadium.
Hell yeah.
Tampa has the most strip clubs per capita.
Fire the damn cannons.
Right. So Dale Mabry, which is the main road
Okay.
that runs right by the Ray J, now to where the Rays are playing. Yeah, it's just littered with strip club after strip club. But Mons Venus is one of them, world famous for over 40 years. It says it right on the marquee. But you cannot open up a strip club and have like a normal name. This cannot be Bob's.
Oh, this would be a great segment. Strip club or not a strip club? You just give me names of places, and I try and you just try and guess whether or not it's a strip club.
I see the wheel turning.
That'd
I'm
be a
here for
really
it.
good radio segment. Yeah, have some callers call in.
Iowa JD. It says, do not talk bad about Spearmint Rhino. It's the pillar of my community in Carter Lake.
A strip club is the pillar of that community.
Now, there isn't a lot to
Wrong with
Carter
it?
Lake.
Local economy.
Hey, there's a great golf course.
Hey, it
There's
probably
really
brings
nice boats out there.
it probably brings in some
Clientele.
Tourism.
tourism, some new people.
Yeah.
Is Omaha going to Council Bluffs? Does that count as tourism?
Yes. Technically, yes. In the economy.
I spent a lot of time in Iowa then.
Do you feel like a tourist, or now do you feel like a local?
I do feel like a tourist when I go into a gas station and I see all the Iowa Hawkeye gear, and I remind myself, oh, I'm currently in Iowa.
Mhm.
Like that's my indicator. When I go to the Bass Pro, I'm like, oh, it's all Iowa gear before Nebraska gear. I'm in Iowa. I went to a movie yesterday at the AMC
Ooh.
in Council Bluffs. I spent a lot of time in Iowa yesterday
Wow. Our movie theaters must suck.
Why that theater?
because I went to go and grab a Diet Coke and a coffee over at my favorite establishment. I did not gamble.
Because can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it was free.
Yes,
Just checking.
I went to the Horseshoe.
You did okay. So hold on here. 1 second.
Yeah, give it. No, judge me.
See, this
Judge
is
me.
why I wanted to come back to work.
You can totally judge me here. Yeah, I go to the casino to get a free cup of coffee and get to a free Diet Coke
But you
because
did not gamble.
no, I didn't gamble once.
Not
You
even
drove
like a
all the
slot.
way over.
It's not that far from where I live.
We have a Diet
I'm
Coke
right over
machine
there.
here.
You have a
just
Diet
wa-
Coke machine?
You
there?
just walked in, walked to the help yourself,
Yes.
and then walked right
no,
back out.
No. I went to the sport book area and I
Okay.
sat down
Okay.
and they have sports going on
Yes,
and they have
do.
current
They
talk
have horse
shows.
races
They
going
Hi,
have
on.
sweetie.
horse
Love the show
races,
today.
And they have baseball games and they have the herd. And so I see the ticker of like what Colin is talking about and like what the main subject lines are. I drink my coffee. Then I walk back over to the help yourself. I get a Diet Coke. I sit back down. I finish my Diet Coke and then I leave. And then I go, hey, I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet. And I went over to that movie theater.
Nice theater.
Very nice
Yeah.
theater. Probably the nicest AMC that I've ever been to. They were totally unprepared for somebody to show up at 1 o'clock on a Monday. The parking lot was totally empty, and I walked in and they saw a ghost. They were like,
I saw that movie.
they're like, well, are you paying cash or card? And I go, card. They're like, you got to go over there. And then when I went over to go and get my popcorn, no one was over there, and I just waited there for like 2 minutes, and then they finally walked over. I spent $30 at a movie theater yesterday.
Good thing you got free coffee and soda then.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
You're judging me over there. I don't care. It's free coffee.
You drove all the way.
It's not
from
all
your
the way.
house
There's
over
not all the
to
way. It's
Horseshoe.
It's 8 minutes. It's an 8-minute drive from my house to Horseshoe. Okay, which means that it's a 6-minute drive from my house to the movie theater. So I stopped off and I got a free cup of coffee and I got Diet Coke, two of the things, probably my two favorite drinks in the world. And then
Man, they're
I
pretty
went
good.
over to the movie theater and I got a popcorn and a Coke and it cost me like $20, which is ridiculous.
For a popcorn and a Coke,
A popcorn is $9. A Coke was $7, and then my ticket was $13.
Damn, I thought it was
Just
cheap in the middle
should
of
have
the day.
waited to go on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's $6 Tuesday today.
Yeah, I wanted to watch a movie.
John says the Spearmint Rhino is still open. John, that seems pretty fishy there that you would inquire if it is open. Yes, yeah.
Hey, I'm just asking for a friend.
Having a conversation with your wife and like, I don't know. Is that strip club right there by the hotel or when you leave Epley? I don't know if it's, yeah. Yes, it still is open.
Hey,
But-
honey, do you know that the Spearmint Rhino has an all-you-can-eat buffet on Fridays? Yeah, it's
Just don't ask what you're eating.
No, I had no idea. I had no clue that they had a pot roast
They
buffet.
still got a Perkins next to it, man.
Oh,
They ran Perkins out of Omaha. Damn you people.
I thought Perkins would be really good for the Spearmint Rhino.
Well, it is. It's right.
Oh, it's
Close
right
by.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can go get a pie after a pie.
But we don't have a Perkins in Omaha anymore.
Keegan goes in the YouTube chat, and hi to the YouTube chat. We love all of you who are in there. Pitbull played at the Rhino 15 years ago.
Did not know that.
No.
Did not know that they had space to host a concert.
Mr. Worldwide
Dolly,
was
as
at
he
the Spearmint. I feel like you would love that.
I would go see Mr. 305.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love to see
Pitbull.
Mr. 305.
Him and Shakira were at MetLife in New York City. I thought about going this past weekend.
Shakira.
Couldn't drive.
I'll never forget that Super Bowl halftime show
Why did when you mentioned her name? Why did your eyes close and you?
because I was just
Why do I need a
remembering-
raincoat
I was just
now?
remembering what that halftime show.
Yes, because I'm sure that's what you remember from that Sunday.
Hey,
I
hey,
don't know nothing about the game.
when your team doesn't play in the Super Bowl, there are certain things that you just got to latch on to, that you got to remember, that you got to make that game about.
Another one. The Lumberyard in Des Moines.
Whoa. There's no way that's a strip club. The
It is. It
Lumberyard?
is.
That's a great name. That is a phenomenal name.
Yeah, it is. So I'm trying to think where it's at. There's I got to tell a quick story, and this is, I can't believe you let us down this path.
How did I lead us down this
So by the way, it's
path?
off of
How
Northeast
is this
54th
my
Avenue,
fault?
the Lumberyard. There's a Big Earls is when I was growing up. was
Big
the strip-
Girls?
Big.
Big Girls? Is that what it's called?
I know there's a lot of. You can't name a strip club Big
You
Girls.
definitely could.
Okay.
You definitely
No,
could.
because you have to deliver a variety.
All size girls.
Big Girls.
Variety
where
girls.
our parking lots are thick. THICC. No,
That's
no,
great.
no.
That's incredible marketing.
Hi, doll. Welcome to
no.
Pogs.
No.
Can we help you?
So this is a good early morning story. I have never, and I'm being truthful here. I've never been to the lumberyard, and I've never been to Big Earl's, which is
You
like
say it,
the
and it
strip club.
sounds like
No, because people get shot there, and I don't have any
my
interest in
God.
getting shot.
Oh, that's a buzzkill.
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
like I don't
literally.
like I have really tried to avoid getting shot.
That's a great strategy.
So
Same. That was my
there were-
neighborhood
That's a
growing
bold
up.
strategy, Cotton.
It seemed like once a week I would hear stories outside of Big Earl's in Des Moines of somebody getting shot.
Okay.
And then, small world, my mom knew the proprietor of Big Earl's. He had had some health issues, and so
I was gonna spit take there.
So, no,
I thought you were gonna be like small world.
she
My
came
mom.
home when I was in high school, and she goes, such and such. I met the guy behind Big Earl's because he had some cardiac issues. My mom ran the cardiac unit
Okay.
at Mercy Hospital in Des Moines, and I'm like, ooh, that's something I could do with show and tell. Say my mom knows the guy behind Big Earl's. So, you also, as long as you were upright and had a pulse, and you didn't look like you were 12, if you looked like you were at least 13, you could get in.
At least 13.
Okay.
Jeez.
So a couple of guys in my
God, I miss your
in my-
guys' America.
in my
I really
in
do.
my senior class at Urbandale.
Shout out Miss Davis.
And I didn't go because I was a baseball player at the end of the
Big
school
shot.
year. So they went, and one of the guys got mono from there.
Well, I mean, I feel like that kind of comes with the territory. Like, I think that's.
How do you get mono out of a strip club?
I mean, there's probably a
You're not
lot of
supposed to
kissing
touch.
being done, a lot of saliva being exchanged, some bodily fluids are
Exactly.
probably flying.
Exactly. And so I'm like, I'm never going
That'd be
there.
a good strip club.
I'm
name,
never going there.
bodily fluids.
Yeah. So
Or a plasma donation.
The pharmacy.
So remember, Big Ten baseball teams.
That'd be a great
It's not
strip
us.
club
It's
name.
you.
Pharmacy.
Welcome to Omaha. Keep your head on a swivel. This is
Don't
gonna
look at
be-
me like this is
it's gonna
totally
be
my fault.
It's going to be an interesting transition.
Oh my God.
Good morning, Nebraska ball, Mike.
maybe not.
Do you have a story?
Welcome back, Jimmy.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Have you
to
been
hear
to Big
from you.
Girls before?
I hope you're doing well.
I am. I'm doing a lot better right now. I can tell you that.
A place in the same without you.
That's what I've been told.
Please tell me that Fred Hoiberg was at that Big Ten, that high school tournament.
Yeah, but that's not where I thought you were going to go. But
I'll go there in a second here.
really?
Was he at least paying attention to life?
Yes, he was.
Do we have any chance to get anybody that was there?
Yeah, there was a couple of guys they've offered scholarships to.
Okay, so he is paying attention.
Yeah, Mike. What? Did you just shut her down?
Yeah. No,
It
he's
was.
on the beach in Cabo, Mike.
No.
You
They're
tell me that there's a 7-2 guy. Of course, Matt Painter's going to be there. Produce fly paper to them, and they show up. They just play and whatever.
Well, he also has a history of developing 7-footers, and I think he's on a run of 10 or 11 straight years. He's had a 7-footer on his roster, but no,
Absolutely.
Nebraska is high school recruiting for 26. So yes.
Okay, good. So there's that. We're good, and
Okay.
everything's okay with that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what it is about Nebraska and ending up in Tennessee for anything big, but we have a mutual friend out there, don't we?
In Knoxville,
Yeah.
the president of Tennessee is from Nebraska.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna get anybody in trouble. No.
A
Miss
friend. In,
Sprinkles is out there.
Oh, yeah. Shout out Miss Sprinkles.
Oh, that's
Big
right.
fan of the
Yeah.
show.
yes, Miss Sprinkles lives in Tennessee. That is correct.
Miss Sprinkles is in Nashville. Like, again, for some reason we always end up out there before we end up doing anything big. Now, it's going to be hard apparently because they've got really good pitching out there. But you know what? So do we. And who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And if this ends up Nebraska, Oklahoma in the College World Series, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
LTSGO.
And as far
I
as
have no idea what we're doing.
Well
those
done.
Chapel
places
round.
that you just mentioned before I came on,
Say that again.
as far as those kind of places that you just mentioned before I
Yeah.
came on,
Give me some experiences.
I had a good birthday, and this city has room for one of those. If anybody honestly knows what they're doing,
I got a follow-up question, but I don't think it's appropriate. But you had a good time?
I did.
Okay, that's all that matters.
I want to thank. There was one person in there that knew what she was doing. The rest of them didn't earn their time or my money.
That's how it should be.
So,
When they flip that thing over and it
thanks
says
for
tip or no
one.
tip.
What?
Do they look away at the club?
Oh my God, this town is so conservative when it comes to those places. Let me tell you something.
Sure.
Veterans, people in wheelchairs, lonely people, strip clubs exist for people like that, and nobody knows what to do here. Period. Nobody knows how to build one. Nobody knows how to make one. Nobody knows how to care anymore.
Okay.
It's legitimate. There's a place for one if somebody knows what to do.
You wanna have somebody get in contact with you, or
No,
1620 the poll.
I don't have the money to back one up.
all right? Well,
I'm just
no,
saying.
no,
It's out there. Somebody can do it right.
Yeah. I got a question that I'll DM you. I don't think that's appropriate for the air because you keep saying they don't know how to do it right, and so I want to know, but it's not even 8 a.m.
No,
Yeah. Okay.
if a wheelchair person walks in there, the place should not be 5 times bigger than my chair and no more than that.
Okay. Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
So that's all I'm going to say about that. If you have any more questions, I'll answer them on DM.
All right. That's
Okay.
that's cool. That's cool. Hey, Mike. Have a wonderful week. I appreciate the knowledge of those establishments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So how about Big Ten baseball?
So
today?
glad the Reaper didn't take me. Thank you.
So on that note, did you guys know that Beth Mowins is doing the Nebraska
Great
Tennessee
transition. Great
no
transition.
clue.
Super?
I had no idea.
A banger crew doing that. They're number one
Yeah,
crew.
so
Holly Rowe will be
this time last just keep it moving for everybody out there. This time yesterday morning, Nebraska Tennessee were going to be on ABC.
Yeah.
So then they got moved off of ABC and they got moved to the nighttime and somebody got but ABC or ESPN, I should say, has assigned their Women's College World Series crew to the Nebraska Tennessee Super. So Beth Mowins is doing the game. If you've missed her during the past college football season, she will be there. Holly Rowe, who is the reporter, will be involved this weekend in Knoxville. And this is the one that I'm very curious because you have a great pitching matchup, but her thoughts on Jordy Ball is Jessica Mendoza. So they will have a 3-person female booth
That's
and then
awesome.
Holly Rowe. But this is their number one crew for the College World Series that'll be working in Knoxville.
Rightfully so. I mean, you have two of the best pitchers in the country going at one another, and then you also have the best player in the country in Jordy Ball playing two traditional college athletic brands playing each other. It's going to pop a massive rating. There was no other real game, in my opinion, that you could invest more into just in terms of the attention it's going to get. And so I'm glad
the brands and the storylines. Yeah.
And, I mean, and also too, like what you got Nebraska playing for the right to maybe even play Oklahoma, and you can thread that into that storyline as well when you're announcing the game if they take a lead or if they end up getting to a game 7. There's just a lot of this matchup between Tennessee and Nebraska has a lot of just interesting moving parts into it. And so I'm glad that ESPN has got it right and invested the best that they could possibly invest into it.
Jimmy, after Mike's call, because everybody is listening,
as they should be.
Do you think Miss Sprinkles now will re-engage
I
with
hope
the
so.
show?
I hope so, because I don't know if she's engaged since we had the new show start. And I think she should get to know it, and I think she'll like Matt and what we're doing. And yeah. So Miss Sprinkles, welcome back. GBR.
GBR.
Hey, it's not Rocky Top. It's GBR.
Mm-hmm.
Is Miss Sprinkles an old friend?
Yeah. An old friend.
What do you when you say a friend? Is that pretty loose?
I'm a pretty loosey goosey friend guy. I think everybody's my friend.
There's a lot of looseness going on there.
until I'm told otherwise.
I think she's a cash fan. Cash friend.
Cash friend? No, there's such
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
There's definitely tiers. There's definitely tiers of friends.
A lot of tears.
She pops in and out.
Mm-hmm. Just slides on in.
Sam McCuan's going to join us before the hour is over. Again, Nebraska, Oregon baseball. Make it mean something.
I'm hoping it means something.
So that would mean Nebraska has to win tonight. And then beat Oregon Friday, 6 o'clock. The GBR ballers on the baseball diamond and the GBR softballers, the Nebraska ball.
I think
Knoxville,
nobody,
same time.
Don't come to Omaha for 2 in a barbecue.
No, not even one in a barbecue.
Not even one in a barbecue.
Usually
one in
it's
an
a
exhibition barbecue.
Well-priced prime rib lunch.
Or an all-you-can-eat.
95 days away. We'll celebrate the 95 team, one of the greatest college football teams of all time, in case you forgot. Also, my favorite 95. Great dude. Great family, by the way, right here in the Omaha area. Break time. We'll come back with more. Sam McCun still to come. Brian Christopherson a little bit later on a rainy Seattle-ish Tuesday morning ahead of the start of the Big Ten baseball tournament. On 1620 The Zone.
This week's zone deal, I don't know why I started it like that, is for the Woodcliff Restaurant, voted Omaha's best outdoor patio. It's perfect for a romantic dinner for two, or just a romantic dinner for one, or a family dinner. All still romantic. Enjoy all of Woodcliff's delicious food with a perfect view of Woodcliff Lake. Don't miss Thursday's weekly special burger or Friday's fish special. With this week's deal, get two $25 gift vouchers, a $50 value for just $25. Listen to USC this afternoon to win the show of romance. Get all the details, 1620zone.com.
Terry writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. I said, hi, guys. Is this your golf day?
No, tomorrow. But I don't think I'm playing tomorrow.
Why?
I don't play every week.
Oh, okay.
I only play, I think there's like 16 dates and I'm playing 12 of them.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is like one of the weeks I'm not playing.
But for people who don't know, Terry and Matt are together in the Tiburon Golf League.
We are out of last place.
Nice.
Yes, we had a big win last week. So we're 1 point out of third.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. How many 14s?
All the winning streak.
It's I have no clue. I have no idea. Terry just writes the emails and he tells us what place we're in. Last 2 weeks we're in last place. This week's email was, hey guys, we're no longer in last and we're 1 point out of third. I'm like, hell yeah.
Well, you'll have something to talk about, Terry, because he writes into the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally. He says, hi, guys. Buddies and I went to the Pink Pussycat in Fort Lauderdale a day or two before the 84 Orange Bowl. Speaking as a connoisseur of those establishments, it was great.
Hey, here's the funny thing. I've already had those conversations with Terry. You know, when you're out on the golf course playing 9, you know, there's a lot to talk about.
So when I was living,
see, I would know that place is that place by that name.
Yes, Pink Taco's not a Mexican restaurant.
it was legendary. During the Cocaine Cowboys, the Colombia Mafia, they were notorious for drug trafficking, prostitution, money laundering out of the Pink Pussycat. It was the first strip club in Florida to have full nudity. Got shut down 2009, I think is when it did. But it was a landmark. It was right on the corner of a busy street. It was off of Northwest 36th. It was. I mean, the front of the building was quite interesting. But it is no longer around for people that want to relive the memories of trips to South Florida, and you see stuff that you don't see in Omaha, Lincoln, or Wynetta.
I learned about strip clubs through Happy Days.
Okay.
Yeah, you remember that episode where Mr. Cunningham
is that where Chuck got lost at?
Goes to the local establishment because Bubbles is going to be there, and then Richie also knows that Bubbles is going to be there, and so he sneaks into the strip club, and then he finds out that his dad's there. And I had no idea what that stuff was at the tender age of 8 years old until Sunday, Monday, Happy Days.
Imagine the bump the local one's going to get when they expand to an international airport here. We're going to have people from all over the world and be flying into Omaha, and before they ever make it to beautiful downtown Omaha, they'll stop off. They'll get some gas at the convenience store, they'll go to Perkins, or they will score. We're going to score. We're going to win. We're going to, no.
When you're landing into
They're
Epley,
winning a lot.
You just see on a big sign, welcome to Omaha, home of the Spearmint Rhino.
I think there was a sign.
They could workshop
right
that.
by the industrial off of Abbott. Yeah, I think that was back in the day. Sam Mcun will join us next.
So we hope.
We have lots of things to discuss with Mr. Mcun, as we are 95 days away, or as some like to say, Danny Noonan days away.
First favorite Dallas Cowboy.
Hey, great family. Danny, Julie, and that whole crew. And good luck to Maverick this year. Big season for Maverick down in Lincoln. Sam will join us next on 1620 The Zone. All right, storms in the area last night. Not so much here in Omaha, but in Lincoln and other parts of the listening area. And you know what? Your roof might have taken a beating. What about your siding? What about your gutters? What about finding an award-winning Omaha roofing company that is here before, during, and after the storm to come and look at your potential damage? That's right, Moose Roofing. Since 1996, Pat Moose and his crew, they have roofed over 15,000 homes from western Iowa all the way to Lincoln. They are on top of the roofing industry. I sat down with Pat, and he was telling me everything that goes on in the ventilation system and all of these things as he stays at the forefront of customer care and innovation. And I was like, okay, now we're cooking with some peanut oil. And you can too. If you need your roof looked at. Siding, gutters. Schedule an inspection today with Moose Roofing. Let them come out. They'll get to know you. They'll sit down. They'll work through what are your issues. They will get on your roof. They will assess everything. Then they will even work with your insurance company because that's becoming very, very difficult. They put you at the forefront to take care of you. That's why they have so many proud customers that keep coming back when they move to a new home or they're looking to sell their home and you need to fix that roof. Take care of them today. Residential, commercial, repair, service, all of that. Moose Roofing takes care of it. To schedule an inspection today, go to their website, mooseroofing.com. All right, on this Tuesday morning, let's welcome in our Tuesday friend, or any day that ends in Y, Sam Mcun of the Omaha World Herald. Good morning, Sam.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. You know, a little bit of rain last night, big deluge.
Yeah. You guys got more in Lincoln than we did. We have very much a Seattle-type morning here.
Yes.
But we have baseball, Sam, at 10 a.m. How excited
Yeah, I
are
know.
you to start the Big Ten baseball tournament in Omaha?
Really excited.
Come
you
on,
know.
Sam. You're a better actor than that. You can
Super.
you can spice it up a little bit.
We'll circle back around to that. But the story has been Jordy Ball and what she has done this year. I think people also need to remember she's had this year coming off an ACL injury to have a nearly 10 WAR and be up for Player of the Year. But I was thinking, and you've covered Nebraska athletics for a long time, and you remember Peaches James, but the impact that Jordy is having. Can you think of some other athletes at Nebraska that, because of their prowess and the success of their team, single-handedly elevated the brand of the program they were playing for at the time, like Jordy has done?
Yeah, Tommy Frazier, I think, took it from one level to the next. He had a lot of help, but Tommy.
And I'm glad you said that. I am spot on with what Tommy Frazier did for Nebraska football and the timing of when he arrived.
Right, and you know this better than I do. Nebraska was a great football program when Tommy Frazier got there, but when he left, they were the greatest team of all time. And so and he went through a lot of things while he was here, but everybody kind of saw that, when he got here, it was like, oh, this is the change. Similarly, Turner Gill, I think, had that impact, or Mike Rozier, whichever of the three guys you want to pick, had that impact. I thought, even though they didn't win any NCAA tournament games, Eric Piatkowski had that impact in the time that he was here. There haven't been many, and Dominic and Sue, although again, they didn't really win on that big of a level. So, Jordy is not Merlene Ottey, which people don't remember. And they won a national championship largely in part because of Merlene, who was a sprinter here in the 1980s. Very few. Penny Haynes, like people that haven't been here for a long time, that are among the greatest athletes in the history of the school. I not Alex Gordon, but Dave Van Horn. Dave Van Horn had an impact the way that Jordy's having. So very, very few people can match the impact that she's had in a short amount of time.
Sam, it seems like this house settlement is just never ending at this point in terms of when it's going to be accepted and things that are being added. But yesterday, it was honestly maybe the biggest news of the day that a part now of the settlement is going to be what they're calling the CEO of the College Sports Commission, which essentially is going to be a 7-figure role given to somebody who is going to have final say in terms of punishments and violations and whatnot when it comes to college athletics. I think this is probably the best thing that could have happened in terms of things being added to the settlement. What's your opinion on this out of nowhere kind of late addition to what will be a pretty big decision in legislation in college sports?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think if there's a way to have some teeth to enforcement and rules like that, I think that's fine. The concern, first of all, it has to be approved.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been approved yet. It's taking a long time. And you read this stuff online from analysts, and the thing, it would be regrettable, to the verge of infuriating, if this thing gets knocked out because of roster limits, which they never had to have. Like that wasn't a key thing, in my opinion. And so, like, the whole point of this thing was revenue sharing, and the fact that they're going to create some sort of, we're going to turn it down because of the roster limits would be disappointing. So it has to be approved first. I still feel like the thing is going to, it's going to be litigated. It's going to go through the courts. Anytime things go through the courts, you're up to, the whims of a judge who may or may not understand college athletics. So I still feel like we're getting either to a federal law or we're going to a union. There's got to be some sort of structure beyond a court settlement that judges can look to and say, well, here's what it says right here in the language, so this is what you have to adhere to. Like, I think it's very challenging. We're in a very challenging environment at this point. It's a very legal environment. The NCAA doesn't necessarily have a ton of teeth, especially as it relates to college football. And, coaches feel a certain way. Now the president is involved. They might have a blue ribbon commission, with Nick Saban in charge of it. People would always say, government should stay out of sports. Then that all changed in the last 7 to 10 years. It's like, oh yeah, we want the courts and we want everybody involved. This is what happens when everybody gets involved in it, is that there's just no definitive answer. And so you either have to write a law, or you have to probably get to a union standpoint. I just don't know if this thing's going to hold otherwise. And to be clear too, there are media entities now that are absolutely interested in the free for all, NIL, non-revenue sharing, pay for play, everything that Miami's doing.
Sure.
And they're going to lobby for it. They're going to be like, well, this just isn't fair. We're in an environment where I think there's going to have to be a law or a union eventually, because there's just too many people now that you've let the boosters in, and now that there are media organizations that are pretty involved in that. It's going to be very hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. So yeah, that's what I would say. I don't think a CO is going to stop it. I think you're going to have to get to a law or a union.
What? So I know this is kind of just a basic question, but what is just stopping us from having adults in the room and just being like, hey guys, look at what's going on here. We're going to we're going to the pro sports model. Let's just cut the head off the snake and let's just establish it right here, right now. Let's write out the bylaws. Let's get going. Why isn't that an initiative, you think?
Well, one of the challenges with that kind of initiative is, how can you tell somebody who's an employee in a pro sports model that they can only stay at the school for 4 years?
Yeah.
I mean, eligibility is the final frontier. And I don't know, if you were to go, I've used Caitlin Clark in this model because, Caitlin Clark is the most famous athlete in college sports over the last, 10 years. Let's use the pitcher who pitched for UNO last year. Gary, remind me of her
name. Cam Meyer.
Yeah. Why shouldn't Cameron Meyer be able to pitch 10 years in college? There's no real pro sports market for softball. I know that I know that there is. So this isn't about, I know it's Athletes Unlimited, and I know. But the point being that, Cameron Meyer, why not? Why shouldn't she be able to pitch for 10 years if we're gonna render that person an employee? How good would UNO have been this year if they had Cameron Meyer and Maddie Croft? So you start doing this, and then what if you want to go get a PhD? Well, I want to spend the 7th, 8th, and 9th years of my collegiate career pitching in Texas. Why can't they do that?
Yeah.
And so that's a question that's going to come up. And if you don't have a law and you don't have a union, you're going to run into a judge that's going to do the exact same thing that happened with that junior college ruling 5 or 6 months ago, when a judge is like, yeah, this junior college athlete can get another year of eligibility. And I'm not knocking junior college athletes.
Sure.
I'm saying that JUCOs exist for a very specific function. It's either to assist athletes in becoming academically eligible for a 4-year institution, or it's to assist in recruiting, especially in baseball, if the student athlete believes that they're going to get a better scholarship offer a year out of high school. Why should that person get an extra year of eligibility? Only a judge knows. And so that's why we have the adults are in the room. The adults just all have different opinions. And so you have to have a law, which is law becomes consensus, that creates a reality that's okay, we all have to follow the law now, or we all have to follow the union rules. And there's imperfections to laws and there's imperfections to union rules.
Yeah.
But to me, that's where it's going to end up, because you have too many dynamics of well, we're going to go file it in this. We're going to go file it in this court district, and we're going to go over here, and this person's going to say this, and then it's going to go to the next court. And it's just, our legal system is not real well equipped to handle this situation as we're seeing. We have state laws over here and state laws over there. And it's just, the whole thing it's become a regulatory mess, and somebody has to come in and clean it up with a law or you.
It's Sam Mcun of the World Herald joining us.
I know it's
Yeah.
fun to hear me rant about this.
Well, I mean,
No,
hey, the people the most excitable are the lawyers when they're billable hours around college athletics. Let's shift over to playing actually the college athletics, because now that we're into the offseason, Nebraska football's Twitter account is featuring certain players with their own video, whether it be Ja'Cory Barney,
I know.
Hartzog, Sierra Wright, Dylan Raiola, and then Emmett Johnson. And I remember there was 2 weeks ago where Matt Rule on Instagram put out a picture of Emmett Johnson and, basically, you don't know. If I give you the elite running backs this year, right now in the Big Ten, you're probably Darius Taylor at Minnesota, the two-headed monster at Penn State, Singleton and Allen, and then Hughes, who comes from Tulane to Oregon, who I think will prosper in that system. What does a season look like where Emmett Johnson goes from the group of good starters that would include, I think, Haynes at Michigan, James Peoples at Ohio State, Eli Sanders at USC. How does he go from good starters? I don't know if he can get to elite, but how can he get to that middle between 1A to 2?
Oh, usually numerically. I think you do it with a 1,000-yard season.
Is that capable in this offense?
I do. The other metric I might use is like 1,300 yards from scrimmage.
Okay.
Catching and
That's
running.
the one.
Yeah, so like yards from scrimmage, touchdowns scored. If you get into that 15 touchdown range, I think you're pretty darn good football player. And I think Emmett Johnson's got a chance to reach that plateau. Penn State's probably got the two best guys. And there's always going to be somebody that emerges that you're not even thinking about when the season starts, and then there they are. And that'll probably happen. It was kind of Caleb Johnson last year. I mean, Caleb Johnson was a nice back going into last season, but he wasn't a superstar. And then all of a sudden, boom. And so there'll probably be somebody who goes for 1,500 yards that you didn't even really know much about. Probably had a good line blocking for him. So, yeah, I think Emmett can, 1,200, 1,300 yards from scrimmage is probably what I would say is getting to that level. And I do think he's got a chance. He has stayed relatively healthy in his career. He makes first guy miss. I mean, I was all aboard last summer. So
sure,
Nebraska coaches weren't. I mean, they went into the fall and they wanted to. They obviously loved Dante Dowdell and wanted to give Ramir a shot. And I thought, in my opinion, it took too long for Emmett Johnson to really emerge. And it took really till Dana Holgorsen got there for that to happen. And once it did, I thought he looked pretty good.
Do you think that, because we're putting a lot of stock in Emmett having a really good season, but if you look at what we're putting the stock into, it's the last 4 games of the year when he was with Dana Holgorsen. Do you think that how much excitement there is around the team, if that's valid, considering the fact that we really only have a 4-game sample size of him being a upper tier or upper good Big Ten running back?
Well, I mean, the one thing that's always been true about Emmett, it was true in 23 as well, is that the guy can break off big runs. Yeah. And he also breaks off big runs late in games. And so I feel like the traits for him to be a pretty darn good football player have been there for 2 seasons. What he was lacking, and I suppose all we can say is that he wasn't earning it in practice, was opportunity. Like, I think if you give this guy 25 touches a game, he's gonna do what he's gonna do. The issue was there were many games last year, guys, where he didn't get those touches.
Yeah.
I mean, those touches were going to Dowdell, or they were going to Ramir, or they were going to, other guys. And so that's probably the thing that I would say is that, there's got to be some opportunities in there for him. And he is the featured back in this team. I mean, again, they could have, I think if they really, if they'd upped their whatever NIL from Marty Brown, they might have got him, but you're going back to basically sharing the job. And I think they feel really good about where Emmett Johnson's at. So I think he's the guy this year, and he's going to get a lot of opportunities. People can go back and look at some of the Texas Tech or Oklahoma State or West Virginia backs and what they were able to do. And I think you'll see some statistical comparisons that are favorable. And we're going to run that later this year. Yeah. We'll talk about what Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and Houston backs have done in the Holgerson air raid offense, and I think you can come up with a composite that'll give you a sense of what Emmett Johnson's capable of.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see and to keep him healthy all season long. Sam, as always, we appreciate it. Enjoy the week. I know you and the whole crew are busy with softball, baseball, and all the state championships going on as well, so we appreciate it.
It's a great week, and we'll have a lot of coverage. Thanks for promoting that.
Paper will look good. That's Sam Mcun of the Omaha World Herald. So we've kind of talked a lot about Emmett, and I love the yards from scrimmage.
Yeah.
So I think if you are, I'll say 120 per game, yards from scrimmage for Emmett Johnson.
Oh my God, that'd be incredible.
And I'm going to go off. If you go off of just the Dana time, you could probably achieve that if that's the way they're going to use them. Because here's a stat that really stands out in Dana's involvement and how Emmett Johnson was used. 23 of his 39 catches happened after Dana arrived.
Wow.
So
that is an incredible
you do the math
stat.
on the games that he was here running the offense, and you want to do it on average. I think 120 yards from scrimmage, maybe 1,400 yards from scrimmage on the season is attainable if you stay healthy. But, man, they need to keep him healthy. And no fumbleitis shows back up again. And then I think all of those are doable. But I don't know that I still don't know he cracks that Taylor, Singleton, Allen, Hughes tier of running backs right now in the Big Ten.
I think he's the key to the season. Just plain and simple. If Nebraska is going to have what people would consider a successful season, it's about Emmett Johnson, in my opinion.
Hold that thought. We'll get into a couple of emails already about the running backs in the Big Ten. Not bad. Probably not overwhelming, but not a bad. The running back crew might be better than the quarterback crew.
Oh, I disagree.
Maybe it's
I disagree.
It's out there.
I disagree.
People on the streets are talking about it as they go into the Chuck today.
Long line of cars on Dodge as we speak.
2 in the books, 2 to come. A little bit later, Brian Christopherson joins us. And that means we're only 2 hours away from first pitch of the 2025 Big Ten baseball tournament. Weather, I think they're going to be able to go at 10. Looks like the tarp about ready to come off the field.
Roof will be open today.
This is Gary and Matt and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in. Asking for a friend on the street that may be going to the Big Ten baseball tournament today. How do you start a media feud?
A Twitter rant is always a really, really good start. Twitter is a great place to piss people off because I think that there are too many people who think that Twitter is real life, and there are too many people who think that Twitter isn't real life. And the answer is actually in the middle. Twitter is both real life and not real life at the same point. But if you take it too far in either direction, you are going to get screwed. So if you kind of just stay in the middle.
We've seen it here on this station.
Exactly. Yeah, literally on this show. Like, if you just kind of stay in the middle of like giving your legitimate opinions, but also playing the game of like 40% of the people are just here to troll me, you're going to do pretty well on Twitter. If you go either way, though, that's how you start a media feud. If you take things too seriously, media feud. If you don't take things seriously enough, media feud.
Yeah. We have too many people in this sports business that take themselves too seriously. And
amen to that, brother.
This is all about entertainment.
Too many people keeping score out there.
I mean, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you have to admit when you're wrong. But yesterday, the Ryan Clark RG3 thing got out of hand. So it unraveled. It became very embarrassing. And we're talking about one play out of a WNBA game, which, I mean,
by the way, great for the WNBA.
No, I don't think it is.
I think it is.
I think it's uncomfortable for the WNBA because you had the Mount Rushmore of takes. Now, if you think it's great for the NBA, the more popular the sport is, the stupider the discourse becomes. Okay?
That's a great take.
So that is okay. The WNBA might be making it, but
they are at the point that they just need. I just think they need attention. We just need people to talk about.
No. What happens with the WNBA? We're talking. This unraveled yesterday where two guys who I think there's something behind the scenes about two guys who played a year together in Washington, and one guy who's a flat out weirdo.
Yeah,
it became very personal, and it got away from one play in a WNBA game. Is when people talk about the WNBA, and remember, we get 4 more times of Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese, Indiana against Chicago. It's hardly ever about basketball.
See,
it is race baiting. It is a click machine. And you don't talk about, hey, did you see Caitlin hit the logo 3? Did you see that Indiana seems like their players are more in tune with Caitlin Clark receiving passes? They still miss a lot of layups, but her ability to be a point guard is amazing. Or why is Chicago limiting Angel Reese by having her play point forward? Those discussions don't come up.
No.
They came up. They are hardly ever about basketball. And if I'm the WNBA, which all of a sudden I don't think handled the attention they got last year, this enormous attention that added to the great talent that was already in the league with some new players from Caitlin Clark to Angel Reese, I don't think they like this. I don't think it's good for the WNBA because they want them. They are built on basketball. They're not built on what the color of your skin is.
Sure.
And if you do well or don't do well.
How is that any different though from the NBA?
Well, they don't want to be the NBA.
But
they want to be different. They want to be the WNBA.
Okay. But I understand that and being different, but then there is also the line of just you need people to watch the product and you need people to care about the product and you need people to talk about the product. And I still think, despite the fact that the WNBA has grown a lot in the last 2 to 3 years, they still are in the infancy phase of continuing to grow people to talk about the game. And so I think I agree with you in the fact that at some point that not all publicity is good publicity. At the same time, I don't think they're there yet. I don't think they're at that point of, no, we don't want that. We don't want to be associated with that. The WNBA just needs people to tune into their games and just watch their games. And whatever discourse, whether you take it positive or negative, I think is just, as long as it brings more people to the television.
What's the story? What's the story of that game right now today?
The story of the game is that you still have this ongoing. The story of the game is that this Caitlin Clark Angel Reese thing ain't fake. All right, that's the story. The story is that, oh no, they actually don't like each other. This isn't a cultivated thing. They actually are rivals.
I mean, if you want to be like the NBA, which I don't think they want to be.
Why wouldn't you want people to watch your product and invest in your product?
Because it's not the same audience.
Okay, but I don't think you completely separate yourself from it.
No.
The NBA is a successful business.
Yes,
the,
it is.
The NBA makes a ton of money.
But
the NBA pays their players a ton of money.
You have a different world of customers that would rather watch your product than the NBA.
But at the same time, that different world of customers isn't big enough to grow the game and get the game to where you want it to be.
How big do you think the game is going to get at the WNBA?
I think as long as they continue, as long as Caitlin Clark continues to be a transcendent superstar and people tune into her, and then we start giving more coverage to the other WNBA athletes, I think it can grow exponentially. I'm not sitting here saying it's ever going to be as big as the NBA. That'll never happen. But I still think that they're in the phase of their league in this time where any publicity and any time we're talking about the league is a good thing.
But if I Googled the WNBA, it would not give me Paige Beckers in her second game as a rookie last night playing well. It would give me an investigation into racial slurs that were hurled at Angel Reese at the Indiana-Chicago game on Saturday in Indianapolis, right?
Okay.
Or it would give me this discourse, which is crazy because it was a normal foul, but because of the two involved, it gets the attention. And then it goes to the crazy level of Ryan Clark and RG3 yesterday of one play in the WNBA just going everywhere, every which way. It might be easier for people to understand if words were just said out loud and the truth was spoken, that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. She uses the word hate. Now, is she jealous? Yeah, but she also has, I think a national championship. But if she came out and she said the word hate, if she said, I hate Caitlin Clark, I hate her. What if, Jimmy, going back to the nostalgia of the NBA back in the day, what if Bird and Magic hated each other? Because I don't think they did.
No.
They respected each other.
Hell of a respect.
But
on the court,
they were
fiercest
white guy, black guy.
Yeah.
Two best players. They necessarily didn't butt heads, but they're also playing on the best teams that would meet in the postseason. What if Larry Bird came out and said he hated Magic, or Magic said, I hate Bird? Because isn't that what this is? But it's on a different level because I never Bird and Magic, even though you watch the winning time, but they were never like, I absolutely hate this person.
It would have ruined a lot of everything they did for the game of basketball because they captivated each other, they lifted each other, they needed each other, and they were both amazing at what they did.
WNBA is supposed to be enjoyable, right? It's almost like you can't enjoy it for the basketball because there's always something that comes with it.
Okay.
Then you get exhausted and you want to watch anymore.
And it's a wonderful product to watch because the players that are playing women's professional basketball in this country now have the depth has never been this great.
They're awesome.
You need people to get to the screen in order to watch that product, in order to appreciate that product, in order to grow that product. Okay? This situation brings people to the screen.
To hate watch.
But no,
That's
it doesn't.
not
Not to hate watch, because if you look up Angel Reese right now, you're going to see a WNBA investigation, okay? And if you read that investigation, what are you going to have? You're going to have, man, I kind of feel bad for Angel Reese, right? This is unfair, what she's going through. You may have some sympathy, and then you end up becoming an Angel Reese fan. And then the next time that the Sky play the Fever, it's going to be a bigger event because of the things that happen. So then you're going to tune in and you're going to watch that game. And then what I am saying is
for
the wrong reasons.
What I am saying,
you're going to watch and go, why is Chicago Sky so incompetent?
No, if the publicity goes up, if the attention goes up, if these things make more people talking about the NBA and more people tuning into the screen, then eventually you'll just watch the product and you'll be like, oh, this is actually a pretty good product.
See,
I'll watch a Sky game in the future.
I think the back and forth between Ryan Clark and RG3, which I think is personal from their time together as teammates. Now, RG3, I liked him as a college football analyst. He's a weirdo. All you have to do is don't be weird, and you keep your job. He's a weirdo, okay? But that got sideways yesterday. But it is people like those two that hurt the WNBA.
People watch this because they want to break from all this other crap in the world, and then this infiltrates that, and it's over.
Now, when you watch Chicago and Indiana, they play 4 more times, and I know the WNBA will lean into it because of the rivalry. You won't care about the other 8 players that are on the floor, and you're looking for a hard foul, and you're looking for some You're looking for those two because you want somebody just to lose it. You know, you got Caitlin doing the shrug. You got Angel, who is painted as the awful person. It's an uncomfortable thing for the WNBA because they're investigating were racial slurs sent towards Angel Reese. Okay, that's the last thing they want to be doing. They want to promote, hey, Paige Beckers. Yeah. She's like, look at what they're doing in San Francisco with the new team. The place is sold out. They've got all these other good stories to tell. I don't think this is a good story for the WNBA to tell. It's good that these two incredible athletes that do things that we haven't seen in a while are playing in the league, but not the conversation around those two about a foul that was not that big of a deal.
Are more people going to watch the Indiana Fever Chicago game next time it's on TV? Okay. The answer is yes. When people tune into that game, there is a hope that they will play basketball. And in that moment, when you're watching that basketball, you go, hey, this is actually a good product that I would continue to watch, because you still need people. There's not enough people who are stepping up to the television to watch these games. They're not. The WNBA is not as popular as it can be. And so it's just, like I said before, the more that we talk about it, the more people that tune into it, the more people that are exposed to the actual product that they want to promote will grow the game. They just have to get people, come hell or high water, to get in front of the screen. That it hasn't. The WNBA hasn't had a product problem. It's had a stigma problem. It's had a problem where it's like, well, it's just women's basketball. They miss layups. A high school team could beat them. The men are so much better. You've had these people who've never seen the product who have these negative opinions about the game. They just need to get as many people in front of the screen and watch it and then be like, oh, actually, I was wrong. This is entertaining. This is something where if it was on the screen, I would turn it on. I would watch it.
But do you think those people stick around, though? They're going to stick around for a game to see if there's going to be blood on the floor? This is the problem. Sure. This is where the WNBA, where I think yesterday was a bad day for the WNBA, is it's hardly ever about basketball. LeBron James congratulates Caitlin Clark, and what happens? He supports Caitlin Clark for what she did and went, whoa, triple-double?
Yeah.
I mean, you did that in your first game? And people are like, why don't you support Angel Reese?
But you're going to get that. You're going to get that story every. And I agree.
It's exhausting.
I agree.
It's exhausting. And if I'm a league, I'm trying to promote the incredible basketball that we have. And I've got everybody else that comes and dips their toe in my sport that is turning it into something that it's not.
I think, though, when you have situations like this, where you have the controversy and more people come in and tune in because of the controversy, it leads to more views, more ratings, more popularity. And then that increased popularity allows your other stories to eventually be more effective. Because when you do market the Paige Becker story, when you do market Cameron Brink, when you do market other players across the league, you're going to have more of a source or more of an audience to promote that to. They're still at the point where they're still growing an audience. 5 years from now, if we're still talking about this 5 years from now, the controversy between these two and the racial lines or whatever, I think we have a problem. I'll totally be on your side, be like, this should be gone. We should still not be talking about this. But right now, in year 2 of the Caitlin Clark era, the WNBA, I still think you're at the point of anytime we talk about the league and anytime there's anything that happens that wants us to tune into the league more is a good thing. There will be a point where that is done. There will be a point where that will be over. I just don't think we're at that point yet.
So you don't want to hear stories about.
I do want to
tune in for crashes in NASCAR. You want the cars flying down the backstretch of Talladega?
I'm not talking about me. Okay. I'm talking about just casual fans. I'm just talking about people who may not have watched WNBA games before. I'm talking about people who hear so much about what's going on and then now think, all right, well, next time the Fever and Sky play, let me just tune in and see it. And
so I get blood.
But some of them will hate watch. Some of them will hate watch. Some of them will watch it and be like, okay, hey, I could continue to watch this product, or my stigma of this product was wrong, or my idea of this product was wrong.
Here is Mark. Mark, thanks for the call on the Prairie Flower Casino Hotline. Good morning.
Morning, guys. Listening to your discussion about the WNBA thing. And, you both have some good points, but at the end of the day, Matt, I think here's my analogy.
Sure.
Dogfighting is interesting. People want to watch it, but at the end of the day, that really does not promote or support the Humane Society or the American Kennel Club. It's just too much.
It's an interesting analogy, Mark, and I know where you're coming from, but at the same time, I do think that the WNBA isn't at the point where they're necessarily established as a popular league or a league where they are close to the top of the food chain. They are a league right now that is just in desperate need of more eyes. Okay. And so if dogfighting is what gets more eyes in the genesis of the league, so be it, just as long as we don't continue to do it forever. At some point, you're right, it gets distasteful. You don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to see it anymore. But I just think we still are in the age of all publicity is good publicity.
They need some really good creative marketing people, which they probably already have, but they need some really good creative marketing people to puff up better stories and make the Caitlin Clark Reese thing, number 4 on the list and not number 1.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for the.
It just gets distasteful.
Yep, this is over one play in a game. Here is Nate. Nate, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Sharpie? Listen, so here's my thing. I think we are doing a disservice, and I understand the analogy, but this is not a moment where we need to go, oh, it's Magic and Larry 2.0. I totally disagree that we should downplay the hate. We should eliminate the racial aspect, but the hatred is an opportunity. Think Knicks Bulls, right? Because if we are honest with ourselves, we would do anything to have Knicks Bulls again. Even Knicks Pacers in the years that Mike was gone, right? That competitive hatred, I would love it if they just came out and said, I hate her. I don't hate her because she's black. I don't hate her because she's white, but I hate her. I want to rip her throat out and score 90 points on her every game. That would be a marvelous.
It would.
Because at the end of the day, we need storylines, because what really draws people to basketball is athleticism. And if you look back at the chart of the NBA, pre-Jordan, pre-Bird, you had, well, everybody likes to call it the Plumbers League. It wasn't entertaining. Then you had Bird came in with extreme skill, and Magic came in with extreme flash and stabilized the league and grew it. But the NBA did not become super-duper household until you have the athleticism of Jordan and Wilkins and where that grew out of and came from. And while they're still waiting for a Jordan and a Wilkins that probably never will come because of physiological differences, let this become that. Let it become Knicks Bulls. Let them hate each other. Let them keep throwing ring fingers up and doing all that stupid petty stuff. It's good TV. It's good theater because it's not really about basketball anyway.
Nate, I got a question for you.
Good morning.
No, Nate, stay on. I got a question for you. This is great. Do you think Caitlin Clark is more Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, or is she more Michael Jordan?
She is definitely more Larry Bird, but I'll tell you why Caitlin Clark works. And it's going to be ugly, but it's going to be raw, and it's going to be truthful. Caitlin Clark is white America's vicarious daughter. That's why everybody goes and runs to defend her. That's the girl that got taken to Little League on Saturday morning, and everybody sees their kid in her. She has an element to her that is Bird-like when all those fans in the 80s go, hey, look at this. So, yeah, that does exist. She's definitely more Bird. Definitely more Bird. And I think Reese is a bad comparison to Johnson because while she is good, I mean, I would compare, if I were to make a male counterpart comparison for Reese, I would probably go with like, and this is going to be really weird, but I see like young Arvydas Sabonis. I mean, honestly, like skill set wise, she's not Magic Johnson.
He should get a prize for dropping her.
The relational element is there.
Yeah.
Hey, Nate, thanks for the phone call. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think Caitlin Clark's Jordan. I think, or you could say she's both, the Magic and Larry thing is happening, but I think she's Jordan. Because no one has brought eyes like Caitlin Clark has brought eyes to the product. And no one brought eyes like Michael Jordan brought eyes to the product. Okay, am I a little crazy for saying that a woman in her second year of being in the WNBA is Michael Jordan? Fine, whatever. I don't care. I think she is. That's what I think she'll be.
So I'll leave that alone because that 23 is on a whole different level.
It's fine. I think she'll eventually.
I've got a different one for you.
Okay.
She is the Magic Johnson. This is Magic Johnson versus Draymond Green.
Wow.
And Caitlin Clark is the Taylor Swift of the WNBA. Because merchandise, performance, she meets the moment. She's very polarizing, right? I would
like
love
that.
so.
I like
I
that.
would love this because Draymond Green is back on Inside the NBA here for the Eastern Conference Finals. I would love somebody to ask him, does he see a little bit of himself in Angel Reese?
Oh, maybe. I don't think that would be a bad question at all, and I don't think it would a bad thing for him to say, yeah, absolutely, because I'm a 4-time champion, because I'm a future Hall of Famer, because I'm one of the best defenders ever, and I see that in her.
Now, the other thing of this whole discussion, Chicago needs to be better.
Yes,
I mean,
Yeah.
Chicago is not very good.
You can't.
Now, Indiana hiring Stephanie White was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because they had to figure out the first year, and their roster is better. And I don't know that Indiana is the favorite, but they're going to be a playoff team. For this to continue to foster, Chicago has to be better.
Well,
I mean, Chicago right now is terrible.
What was the tweet that Indiana said? Not much of a rivalry, right? When you beat them by 34 points. I mean, they're not wrong.
It's true, and they don't know how to use Angel Reese. Her as a point forward is not the way to go. But I am no Kim Mulkey.
This ain't Magic and Bird. It's Magic and Lambeer.
I think Magic and Draymond Green.
I think it's a great way of putting it.
And Taylor Swift is, hanging out as well.
You said Caitlin Clark is Angel Reese, or Caitlin Clark is Taylor Swift?
No, the Caitlin Clark. I would compare. You said Jordan,
yeah,
because of her impact. I would say more like Taylor Swift.
I totally agree.
She plays like Magic.
She does play like Magic,
and she's what?
That is the funny thing too. I've never thought Bird when I watch Clark.
Well, because at Iowa she was asked to score.
Yeah.
Okay, and she scored because she had to.
Sure.
But she is more what I saw on Saturday. That's more her as a point guard.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that when she needs to get a bucket, she will get a bucket. Not at Iowa where they said, "Hey, you gotta at least get us 30 every night."
Yeah.
No. All right. But Ryan Clark and RG3. Wow.
It got weird.
That's why I think there's a past of maybe when they played together, because they were in Washington for a year. That was uncomfortable because a lot of people had no idea when they started talking about his wife and what he has said about her skin. A lot of people had no idea what that meant, so they were like, "Oh my God!" It was embarrassing yesterday. It was We've had more moments than not in our business.
Oh yeah,
like that. Oh yeah. Where things get out of control.
Get real weird real quick.
Yeah.
That got real. And you know that Ryan Clark's had that hate brewing for a while.
All right, quick break. We'll come back. Brian Christopherson at the top of the hour. They are good to go for the Big Ten baseball tournament. The tarp is off the field for Illinois, Michigan. Huge game. It's going to be a quick one, too, because both teams will run the football.
Good day to run the ball. 52 degrees.
And I'm here for Luke Altmaier, for people that are crushing Luke Altmaier.
Why?
Sip goes, I'd take Dylan over Altmaier.
No, I would take Altmaier over Dylan.
We got to be careful
This year.
One is closer and might hit beyond their ceiling. The other has a way to go. I take prediction over potential until they flip. Thank you. That's my
hot take.
That's my TED Talk.
Blazing.
Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. You ready for a list? Off-season football list
Come
from
on.
The Athletic?
Yeah. Come on. You know me. Am I ready
Get
for
a
a
list
list?
on.
Best 25 players of the first 25 years of college football, according to The Athletic.
Oh, I think I can do some damage here.
Okay. How about,
Like
This
first,
might be
so 2000 to 2025. Is that what
Yes.
this list is?
Yeah.
All right. Reggie Bush.
he is in the top 3.
Okay.
Low-hanging fruit.
Ndamukong Suh.
He is in the top 3.
Tim Tebow.
He is not in the top 3.
Okay. Who am I missing? That's not that. Who was the last top 3 guy?
And he actually is number 1
Oh my God!
on this list. He had arguably
Matt Leinart. That was tongue in cheek. Tongue in cheek.
No.
Tongue in cheek. Tongue in cheek.
He had arguably one of the greatest single season years in the history of college football.
Joe Burrow. Eric Crouch.
I guess.
They're all Crouch is not in this.
Oh,
they're in the top 25.
Crouch.
Burrow is 4th.
Who is it? This is bad.
Cameron Newton.
See, here's my problem with that. I do have a slight issue, okay?
Slight.
That he
That he's
won a national championship going 14-0.
No,
Badass.
no, because
Took the money and ran.
because is the list like best players, best careers, best seasons? Because I would argue that Tim Tebow had a better college football career than Cam Newton did. I don't think there's any argument there because Cam Newton went to Florida, got kicked out of Florida, had to go to a JUCO, then played at Auburn.
Mhm.
Like he had one full year, right?
He had one of the greatest single season
No,
years in the history of college football.
but I'm not.
amazing.
But I'm not.
They're
I'm
doing
not.
the best players. So whether you played 3 or 4,
Okay.
won a couple of titles,
Then that's fine.
but that just shows you that if Cam Newton is number 1 on this list, how his 2010 year at Auburn, he threw for 2,854 yards, 30 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. He ran the ball 264 times that year
Oh my
for 1,473 yards and 20 scores. He accounted in that season,
Mhm.
he accounted for 50 touchdowns.
He was
Cam Newton did.
must-watch TV every week.
I have said this many times on this show. That year is up there as one of the greatest single season years in the history
not-
of college football.
No pushback.
I mean,
No.
it
No,
It was
he was awesome.
dominating. And he was, I don't know, 65, 66% passer that year.
Mhm.
He
Gus Malzahn
was
calling that offense. with Gene Chizik.
66% completion percentage.
Yeah, so
And by the
he-
way, led the nation in yards gained per
Mhm.
pass attempt, yards per pass attempt, yards per completion. So it's not like he was Charlie Checkdown either. I mean, he
No.
was launching the
Yes. So it's 95 days to the season. Earmuffs over there. I said Danny Noonan's my 95. Somebody chimed in, and this is, when Nebraska football players used to change their number on the reg, Jason Peter wore 95 at one time.
People forget.
Well, I did not forget because I thought it was.
I know you
thought
didn't.
it was like the dumbest thing is you would have players like the first guy I remember that changed his number, and I was like, WTF? John Bostic went from 4 to 18 or 18 to 4, but it would happen a lot where guys
Sure.
would change their number from year to year. Now everything is into branding.
I can't stand the NFL. You can wear any number now type deal.
He would have liked our NFL.
Roquan Smith with number 0. I want to throw up in my mouth looking at that thing. He should be wearing 54, or 55, or 58.
Mhm.
Okay. And also too, like Pete Crow Armstrong, like he might be the MVP of the season. And I know that the number 4 is a sexier number than number 52. But your number's your number, man. Make it your brand. Like
Buck
make
Williams
it you.
was number 52.
Like 52. Yeah, it's weird.
52
It's a
seems like you're a call up or you're a spring training guy.
but it's like,
Relief pitcher.
And
you
4
can make it your
and
number.
4 looks better on the back with that long name. Hey,
I just don't like it when guys change.
quick thing on that.
Anthony Edwards used to be 0. That was sick. Now he's 5.
One thing about uniforms that I did not know until somebody pointed it out this weekend. You know how WNBA uniforms, their name are at the bottom of their number?
Mhm.
So the
Yes.
first place I saw this
Like
was
the Kings back in
the
the day.
Kansas City Kings used to have uniforms where instead of their name being at the top of the numbers, it was at the bottom of the numbers.
They kept it in SAC until 1990.
Really unique. So I probably should have known this, but I didn't.
Shout out Vinny Del Negro.
And I don't think you see this in college, but almost every WNBA team, the name of the player is below the numbers.
Is there a reason?
I've
Hair.
heard theories. Hair.
Oh,
Hair.
yeah.
That's what they told me in
yeah.
college, which
That-
makes sense.
That's actually kind of cool.
But there are very few college teams that do the same thing.
I worked for one that did, so for that reason.
Nebraska doesn't, do they?
They don't have
I
any.
don't think I don't. Well, okay. So here's another thing. This is, that Twitter meme where it's like the guy's against the wall and all the swords are up against his face, right?
Mhm.
And they're like, "What sports take do you have that would incite this reaction?" I have one of those right now.
Let me sit back.
The whole no last name on the jersey thing, and the whole, the name on the front is so much more important than the name on the back.
That's right, Coach
Okay.
Snyder.
I don't get the whole big deal about it. Like I don't like, there are some fan bases who look down on other fan bases because they have last names on their jerseys.
Mhm.
All right. Get over yourself. All right. Get over yourself. It like, if anything to me, I think players have worked and played to the point where they do deserve to have the last names on the back of their jerseys. Okay. So this whole, like, you think you're superior or holier than thou. Yes, I'm talking to you, Notre Dame, because you don't have last names on the back
it's
of your
Notre Dame
jerseys.
again.
Like it's, dude, it's not that big of a deal. All right. It's not that big of a deal at all. We have too many conversations about it. I think it's just, honestly, to me, just put the last names on the back of the jersey. And I want to know who that guy is.
You must hate Cal baseball because we have the ACC game on from Durham.
I mean, it's
that
just,
ballpark is awesome, by the way.
It is.
Miami and Cal are playing. Cal does not have names on the back of their jerseys. Instead, they have the Cal logo,
Which is tough for a traditional
well,
Atlantic
I don't,
school like
I don't think
California.
names on the back of jerseys look good on pinstripes.
it's fine. It's okay. Like, my problem isn't necessarily the whole not having names on
You
the
just
back of the
wanted to.
jerseys.
You had gone like 25 days without saying something about Notre Dame, and you were just chomping at the bit, weren't you?
No,
Admit
I'm
it.
more
It's been a
so.
while.
I'm
Just
so
admit it.
mad
It's
about.
okay.
I
Just admit
don't
it.
like fan bases that think it's cool or that think it's bigger than the sport that they don't have last names on their jerseys. Nobody gives a damn. All right.
I think Carlin had a bit about
I
this.
don't
Did your-
I don't
did your-
judge you
Did your
any
head
differently.
explode during the semifinal when Penn State and Notre Dame were playing?
It's just it has nothing to do. Like, I don't care.
Gosh
whether,
dang it,
I'm just saying,
Franklin.
Damn Rick
it's not that
Meyer.
I can't stand not having last names on the jerseys. I just can't stand people who care about having last names on the jerseys. Oh, we're bigger than the team. It doesn't matter. If anything, I prefer it because I get to see who made the play. I don't have to go through my catalog and be like, oh, who's 44?
I mean, in his defense, you can't ever get
Tyler
a program
Warren.
anymore.
Catalog?
Program.
You got the Sears Roebuck Christmas catalog on the counter there.
Does that suit come in teal?
Okay, so speaking of a number, and he had his name on the back of the jersey. I am so glad that the question I posed to Sam about players that have elevated the brand, I would have thrown Jordan Larson in if you are new to this conversation when Sam was on with us, because on the heels of what Jordy Ball is doing, elevating the brand of Nebraska softball. Audie was a great one. Jordan Larson, I think, was one. I think Jordan Larson, Sarah Pavin, of course, but I think Jordan Larson elevated the Nebraska volleyball brand to another level. Tommy Frazier, Sam is absolutely right. Of the players in the history of Nebraska football that elevated the brand, had the most impact on the brand, was T. Frazier. He came along at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
He came along with his incredible talent.
Took a great program to another
Had
stratosphere.
the right playing style.
Man went 33-3 as
Yeah.
a starter, 31-1 in conference,
Ahead of his time, really.
or 31-1 in regular season. The amount of unbeaten regular season championships, 4 conference titles in a row, player of the year, runner-up, all of those things. I think because then, as big as Nebraska football was in the 70s and the 80s, and, the brand was teetering in the 90s. It was still strong,
Yeah.
but it was like living out on the Carolina beach, and you have one of those beach houses that have the stilts, and the hurricane was starting to roll in, and the waters are getting a little bit choppy.
Yeah.
You still had a nice place and a good view, and then a guy came in and he solidified those stilts and he put them in concrete, and everybody across the country knew who T. Frazier was.
They were must-watch TV.
Yeah. So
And
I'm
I
glad
can say
that
that from where I grew up.
kudos to Sam for bringing that up, and he didn't even hesitate.
So
He was like, "Yeah, Tommy Frazier."
back in the summer, I was with some buddies,
Tommy Frazier?
and nope,
Nice.
and we were sitting back and we were playing college football highlight tapes, and everybody got the remote and got to pick a player. What are you laughing about?
I think that's great. Bro, you got to, I don't know if you got to put the app back on the phone or whatever, but continue on.
We just golfed. We were hanging out. We were having
press the tracking.
It was a guys' night. We were watching highlights. We were watching college football highlights. I don't think that's a ground to make fun of me. We went out to the bars after. We hit up at Wrigley not far after that, but we were watching college football highlights. I put on Tommy Frazier. That's the story. I put on Tommy Frazier. A lot of people were like, what the hell is this old grainy footage? I was like, boys, watch this guy. Watch this guy play. Watch the triple option. Watch him run through some people. Watch him at the goal line. Like, it's a great 4.5 minute video.
They didn't know who Tommy Frazier was?
It's Chicago.
I would divorce those guys.
It was Chicago. It's Chicago
They probably
boys
have girlfriends.
who've only ever. Yeah, they actually all do, minus me. So, anyway, moving on. It's not a college football town, right? So it's like the college football knowledge is very over there. So I have to educate them. I have to give them divine intervention on old 90s, not old, but like 90s. The 90s football.
Well, okay, that's fair because you're young. I mean, you have no recollection of.
No, I wasn't even alive.
Your time frame of Nebraska football is much different from mine in terms of success.
Yeah.
How many championships did you win when you were in Lincoln?
I think we had the worst 4-year school record.
Damn.
I won 3.
I won. Were we counting Big Ten softball championships?
Nope. This is national championships in football.
Oh, in football?
Yeah.
Oh, 0.
Yeah.
We
got a volleyball one.
No, we didn't.
Were you in school?
Which one? We didn't get a volleyball national championship.
What was your first year in school?
2020.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Did not get one.
Oh.
I did not. I went 0 for 4 in volleyball, 0 for 4 in
you should
football.
have. You should have enrolled early.
Well, we did get 2 NCAA or 1 NCAA tournament. So there you go.
Wow.
That's my claim to fame. And then it ended so terribly.
Tell me about that
against
Colorado game in
Texas
'94
A&M.
again. That seemed like a fun day.
But anyway,
but look at this weekend. So ESPN has put their number one crew on this game, and if Nebraska wins, she's a household name in the world because people will tune in. They like to listen to Holly Rowe.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Holly Rowe. Beloved in Kansas, beloved here.
Yeah. So
are you tuning in for Holly Rowe or Jordy Ball?
What do you have against Holly?
You are tuning in
Holly's
to watch
legend.
Holly Rowe interview Jordy Ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tuning in for Jordy Ball.
Sorry,
no offense, Holly Rowe. Love Holly Rowe.
Oh,
Holly Rowe's
legend.
good.
Adam texted the show. He said to have to put Johnny Rogers on that list. Put NU on the map and made NU into a contender, won a national championship, forever changed the direction of the program. I wouldn't. You probably could get the 1.0 and then the 2.0. Johnny came along at the right time. Devaney was starting to build something, and then he got a guy that Nebraska had not had play for them, like the talents of Johnny, and then meandered through some positive times, but not to be giddy, and then Tommy Frazier. Timing is everything when someone arrives. That's the Jordy Ball story.
Oh my God.
Nebraska, she in her life away from the diamond and her life on the diamond, the timing of coming back home and where Nebraska was, the timing was perfect. Timing is everything.
And it worked out in a weird way that I really do think her injury made the timing even better. Because then they could use her as a marketing tool to get more transfer portal, acquisitions and pieces and add to the team and have her. We kind of talked about it with Nate Rohr. she was a little bit worn out from all the softball that she'd been playing and being in Oklahoma and winning national championships. Like it's funny how just everything kind of broke the way that it needed to break.
Well, they have. I think in terms of the supers for the national seeds to a non-national seed, this is probably the closest matchup. I can't get out of my head what Nate said yesterday about, and it's not him saying it. It's pretty evident against high-end pitching. Nebraska's offense has struggled. You might have to win some games, 1-0, 2-1.
Well,
and it's 98. They also they have some defensive issues like Texas Tech, but it's compared to the rest of the super matchups where you have the national seed against none seed, this is the closest. You can make a case that this is a toss-up because I don't think Tennessee was kind of meh in their home regional, and they were clutch when they need a hit or a home run. I think it's going to be great. I love that ESPN put their number one crew on this.
I love that we're excited. I love that we are anticipating this. I love that we are honestly looking forward to watching women's softball. Like that's just great for the sport. And once again, Nebraska athletics is a pioneer or pioneering.
Yeah, we got to stop.
Women's
we got to stop women's sports being the best sports down in Lincoln.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I don't mind it. Well, no, I mean, obviously, I want
it's
male
enjoyable.
sports to improve.
Enjoyable.
It's enjoyable.
Winning is winning.
I
mean,
don't compare.
It won't match the 13 female campaign when you had volleyball,
sure,
Elite Eight, women's basketball, Sweet 16, women's college World Series. That was a 50-win team, I believe, and then bowling won a national championship.
Everybody who goes to Nebraska can count at least one bowling national championship during their time. Everybody's got one shirt.
Do they?
I do.
All right. BC's coming up here in about 15 minutes on 1620 The Zone. All right, Omaha tomorrow night, North Dakota State over at Tal Anderson at 6. Creighton tomorrow at 1:30 in suburban Cincinnati. They take on St. John's. My opinion, Creighton wins tomorrow. They are in the NCAA tournament, regardless of what happens. They might have to sneak in if they go 1-2, but if they get by St. John's, then I got them in the NCAA tournament. One thing about Creighton that I don't think has been mentioned enough, because it's been the Ed Service retirement season where they've given him rocking chair after rocking chair, and it's just, let's do it for Ed.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark Kingston is the coach in waiting, sitting in the dugout. They have essentially 3 head coaches in that dugout.
It is crazy.
They have Mark Kingston, who got fired at South Carolina, and then Billy Mole, who was the former coach at South Florida, and then Ed, who is the current head coach at Creighton. But Billy Mole has been a great hire. Creighton is 12th in the country in ERA, and they haven't established 3 starters. That's why I think if they get to the NCAA tournament with Cancelleri as their opening day guy, they have a chance to win a game. And they got Wen on the back end. That's a really good pitching staff. That's, man, to make that hire, because they had to spend some money to get Billy Mole to come and join this staff where he would take over this year instead of, hey, next year. That was a good pickup. And I don't know if he's like looking to get back as a head coach or whatever.
Sure.
But they're 12th in the country in ERA. And then tonight, 6 p.m., literally the season for Nebraska tonight. You can't even, like, that's what it is. If they lose,
it's over.
Friday is for
Nothing.
Everybody that hasn't played a game this year to possibly be in the starting lineup potentially.
How would you feel if Nebraska was just like, "Nah, we're not playing on Friday. we're going to stay home."
Then you're going to be kicked out of the Big Ten conference.
I know.
They'll send you back to the Big 12, and you're like, you know what? For baseball purposes, is really good.
Yeah, we'll both like, please do it.
Which the Big 12, by the way, is going to Arizona. The worst thing they ever did with that conference is they took it out of downtown Oklahoma City, and I know Bricktown Ballpark isn't built the same it was back in the heyday, but they moved that to Arlington, which there were 45,000 empty seats, man.
Jeez. Banger Walmart across the street.
And then they went to the Grill, the new home of the Rangers, at Globe Life.
Yeah.
And now they're going to Arizona. So they're going to where the Royals have spring training.
Surprise.
Oh, really good
Great
move.
facility.
Okay.
So, we're in Omaha, and the Big 12 is in Surprise. But tonight, Nebraska has to win. All hands on deck.
Oh,
Timmerman
absolutely.
could come out of the bullpen.
You got to treat every game like it's Game 7. I mean,
I treat life every day like it's Game 7.
Every day that ends in Y.
I don't know. I feel like my heart would run out if I treated every day like Game 7.
I got that checked out. That's doing well.
You know what? If they
there's nothing wrong with treating like a day
hey.
like it's Game 3. Like, hey, win on the road would be really nice, and
but if
get some momentum.
But if you lose a limb, you know what? It'll grow back.
It'll come back.
But we'll talk to BC about Ty Horn getting the ball tonight. I like this decision. We'll see what the decisions out of the dugout are if you have to go to the bullpen. Everybody, all arms are available tonight.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, Captain.
I mean,
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain.
But they win tonight.
Nice.
A game on Friday night could be kind of interesting.
I got
Good crowd. Weather's good. You're playing Oregon for the first time ever.
Oh, it'll be pretty. I don't want to say electric, but it'll be bumping a little bit on.
And someone
Friday.
will go, do you think Rule and Lanning are here?
Rule will be there. Minus 135. Matt Rule in attendance tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah. Minus 135.
Are they on vacation?
I don't know.
Wouldn't they be watching Knicks Pacers?
Possibly.
Minus 135.
All right, BC's coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Right, as we kick off the last hour on a Tuesday edition of Gary and Matt, we welcome in from Husker 24/7, Brian Christopherson. Good morning, BC.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. Hey, quick question, because I know you were around. Do you think, because in the moment we appreciated it, how well has Tommy Frazier's career at Nebraska aged? And I ask you this because we got into this discussion earlier in the show about what athletes at Nebraska, and you can add to this, have elevated the brand of the program they played for. And Tommy is one that came up immediately in our discussion. But and then I went back and I was going through his bio and looking at his career and going, damn, it was better than I probably thought in the moment.
Yeah, Tommy would probably top the list for me. I mean, partly because he's associated with just championship teams when everybody had an eagle eye on Nebraska. But it was also the way Tommy was he was always good, but he was in big games. He was incredible. And everybody can think of course, the Fiesta Bowl, but like go to the game where they played at like Colorado in '95 and, Neuheisel marches his team through the student section before the game. They're fired up. Nebraska scores on the first play on an Ahman Green touchdown. But in that game, no penalties by Nebraska, but Tommy has that play I'll always remember where he's like getting sacked around midfield, still has somehow the strength and keep his knee just above the ground, flips it out to Ahman, and they get like 20 yards. That's one of the best plays I've ever seen a guy make, honestly. And that's in that type of game. It was those type of games, like top 10 matchups, where he would always deliver something that was dynamic. And I was like junior high going into Omaha North High School at that time in my life. And it was cool when I was a kid to like kids would have like Miami jerseys and like it was cool to like something outside the area. And Tommy and that Husker team changed that. I remember just looking in the halls like at North my freshman year, and there's like kids in like the Tommy jerseys and stuff, and it was different. Like they had a cool factor, and he was certainly a big part of it. I'd throw like Sue in there, not a championship team, but he was just like so dynamic, and we've never seen anything like what Sue did in one given night, like he did against Colt McCoy in Texas, where it just completely like I think everybody knew he was having a great season, but that was such a unbelievable like performance like people hadn't seen before, that it made people like go back and take stock of everything, and there was such a cool factor to how he did it. I thought that brought great recognition of the brand, although I don't think Nebraska capitalized off it like they should have, as we've talked about many times.
Does anyone on the team currently have that cool factor or have a potential to have that cool factor?
I think if Dylan is elite by the end of his career, he certainly could be somebody that could do that. If somebody is at that position and helps raise Nebraska from middling like 6-7 wins to suddenly like by the end of his career, let's say they did make a college football playoff or something like that, it would be sort of a different path than like Tommy and some guys followed, where they, I guess anything could happen, but they won a national championship.
Yeah.
But where Nebraska football is when Dylan got here is in a different place, of course, than it was for those other guys. So like, I think if he elevated and helped elevate this program with great play to, you are one of like the final 8 teams before he left here. And I know some people are snickering as I say that, but that's what their goal is, and it should be their goal. And if he does something like that, yeah, I think he would. You'd have to say like he would do a lot to raise the Husker brand and any guys that are involved in making big plays and getting there. So that opportunity is out for those guys out there to grab. And I was interviewing Trey Taylor last week, the 27 commit, and he recognizes that like possibility with Husker football, the idea that you can be Superman, like in those parts and beyond, if you can help elevate the program. And I think that was part of the appeal to him too.
What was let's stay with that. What were you've interviewed many high school prospects that turn into Huskers or don't come here. What was your impression in your discussion with him?
Really impressed. He woke me up. It was a little before 7.
Like he walked
I
into your
should have been
house?
No. I was like, it was early. He called early. And he gets up at like 5 and does film study and does a workout and stuff like that. And he was like on his way to school. And so my phone rings and I'm sleeping and I see his name, and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be tough. So I gave myself a second before I called him back to wipe the cobwebs away. But he was very impressive just in the fact that like if you ask him about like the position of playing quarterback, he's like into the nuances at a level that you don't hear like most like 16-year-olds. And he's kind of been that way, it seems like, from reading stories and like talking to people who know him well since he was like 8 or 9, which sounds silly to say, but it's true. Like he really just got into it as a little kid, like wanting to know all the ins and outs. There's a video. He was a quarterback at Quarterback University under Donovan Dooley, who's a QB's guru type coach. And they have a video on their site where Trey is sitting next to Bryce Underwood. And Trey's like 12 years old. Bryce is, like a couple years older. And there's also a senior in high school next to him. And you can tell, and I don't mean this as a knock to the other guys, Trey at age 12, like has command of like the interview in the room and like is, and they're kind of smiling nervously as he's like talking about how he sometimes corrects them on stuff, like on the grease board or whatever when they're going through things. So Nebraska really did get a guy who he wants to be an academic of football. I mean, he wants to be somebody who just knows like, if a defense does this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to learn a little something new every day. So I think that's the part that stands out to me about him so far.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because I don't know. Have you talked to his high school coach, Jason McKee, Brian?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
No, I didn't talk to him. I talked to Donovan Dooley, but
Gotcha.
I know Jason's done some interviews and a similar deal where it's just like for his school, and let's be clear. And Donovan Dooley pointed this out. Trey is one of those players who like don't think like IMG or some of those schools wouldn't love to have him, and he could go there. And the program Trey was at last year, they went 4-7, and so they're going to have to try to step it up in the wins category. But Trey had a really good statistical season.
Sure.
20 touchdowns, 7 picks, yardage was really good, and so he's trying to elevate those guys around him. And Dooley's point was, this kid could have went anywhere, but he is one of those guys who's he said, a loyal dog. He's going to stick to trying to build up those guys around him and get those guys on the same page with him. So it'll be kind of interesting. People want to keep track of his school and like if they can elevate a little bit this year.
So that's in my neck of the woods, and J Mac is a former fullback for the Chicago Bears, and I got to know J Mac a little bit. I think it'd be a great interview for you because a lot of that seriousness that you talk about with Trey Taylor, I think definitely comes from Jason McKee and the coaching that he's doing. And that's a program in Carmel where they've kind of been in the middle to lower tier of that Chicago Catholic League, like high school football area. But I mean, Trey's the type of guy that is going to try and elevate them. And you're totally right that, following them is going to be interesting this year. I want to flip though to the current Husker football team. Is it crazy to say that the biggest boom or bust position group on this team this season is the tight end room?
I'm thinking, brain spinning. They'd be in the running. But the only thing I'd say to that is I also think they've got, I say this every time, I'm a big Lindenmeyer guy. You know this by now.
Yes.
I just think he's reliable. So you've got that like base level, right? Where it's some concrete set with that, where it's like you got a player that is going to do his job really well. And then I know what you're saying, though. The others around him sort of bring you to that category of like, what is Harvard going to do with only like 8 months of training at a position that I think is one of the more difficult spots to play in sports, any sport, just because of you have to know everything. I I think he's been trending well, and I think Harburg's got the right mindset from his time being a quarterback to help him with that. But that's certainly an interesting storyline. And then obviously with Carter Nelson, we'll see if he can get that in full stride here this summer leading into camp and what that could look like.
Mm-hmm.
And Markway. So, I mean, it definitely has like storylines aplenty. Like there's 4 or 5 guys. You could go from the top to like a walk on like Caden Echternock, who like Satterfield said, I didn't want to play him at first because he couldn't get stuff right. And now he's like going to maybe be in the rotation. And so definitely an interesting position. I think Lyndon Meyer helps give you a base though, where you're like, I feel good about that. And then let's hope it really takes off where he has like there's a Batman Robin combo that develops somehow.
Hey, let's sticking quarterback and the current quarterback and lists are out. And Joel Klatt yesterday had his top 10. And, you know, I think the month of May, we look at the quarterbacks, the top returning quarterbacks, and we go, okay. And then you pick through Legway and Arch Manning and Aller and Altmaier. And, you know, by then you have like, nope, nobody good is going to be a quarterback. Something or nothing that Nebraska's quarterback, who has a year of full starting 13 football games, doesn't show up on a lot of lists.
I guess it's something. I'm surprised a little bit. Like he tends to be like in the 15 to 20 range. Like I saw a Sporting News one that had him number 19, and I know there were some bad stats like in October, and like ESPN did a tiered list, and they brought up like his worst numbers from that month. I think Nebraska people are probably fine with all that, though. If we just get to the meat of the matter, like I think it's like, let everybody talk about everybody else. Dylan has put in the work. We definitely know that he's done it with his body because he just looked different up front, and he quickly put to bed within the first week the whole like what's your playing weight at situation. You know, like that storyline went away by early on, and we moved on from it. And so I think he can add an element by maybe scrambling just a little bit more when he needs to. I think that's in his mind that he can do that and wants to do that. But also, you know, the biggest thing now is just the mental part of, I think teams did throw some different wrinkles at him starting in like the second month that caused some potholes along the way, and he had to learn from. But he's had a whole, you know, off season to sit through that film and look through it. And I was struck by when he did interviews and he was talking about like the 2-minute warning. I'm actually writing about like 2-minute offense later this week, and how like he went through some those games that are tough to watch, the endings, you know, I think 5-6 times he's been through them, and he's put himself through that. Like, what can I do better in this situation? What should have I done? And I have to think overall he's done that with everything from last year, processed it like he needed to, and now we see where that takes him. But I would guess that they're okay. Like, that's fine. Let him lay low, and hopefully, you know, at this time next year when they're making the list, Dylan's had a performance where he's like, well, he's top 5. You know, like he has that kind of year.
Is it safe to say that special teams is kind of just its own branch of Nebraska football at this point? And is that something that you're okay with or you're comfortable with looking at this team?
Yeah. I mean, special teams has always been its own separate discussion after every game, it feels like.
Yeah.
And usually to the negative. And that's where you're hopeful because of with Mike Eckler and just like his energy. And I think his expectation that they're going to succeed, like he definitely is used to that from what he did at Tennessee. And I think one of the biggest things is, you know, he did it with a lot of walk-ons and guys who were reserves on those units for the Volunteers. And this is probably an underrated part of this season. If he can get that group really rolling, and you've got guys who aren't necessarily your frontline guys contributing, I just think that is so huge for the whole building. Like when you step in to the meetings on Mondays and guys who maybe they're third team at their spot, but they made a play on specials like on Saturday, and it shows up and it's highlighted in the film room, and they have a little bounce in their step. And so if they can get that working for them, where your whole roster is really contributing and it's coming through special teams, I think that's going to be a big deal. Obviously, a lot of this, though, is going to be, do you have the right foot? Two right feet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need the punter that's going to come in soon, and then you've got to have that guy. Nowadays, the college game's gotten more like the NFL, and I always think the best 20 minutes of the week is Sundays from 2:50 p.m. Central to
Witching hour.
3:10. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. There's like 3 or 4 games, and you always know there's going to be something where someone just scored with 39 seconds left. Somebody else gets the ball, and they got to get to like a 51-yard kick, and you've got to have the guy then that can connect the dots and turn sadness into happiness. And so within the 3 kicker options they have, I mean, we could talk about everything under the sun, but there's going to be 1 or 2 wins decided by just simply, do they have that guy who can hit the 46-yarder when he has to, or hits a 34-yarder when he has to, like the Illinois game or whatever. So, so much will be riding on that.
Are you going to Knoxville this weekend?
I'm not, but I'm really into it. I enjoyed last weekend thoroughly. I'm not going to pretend like I am, just focused on it the entire year, but I've been tracking Jordy, and the thing that's fun about the Husker team is Jordy draws you in because it's just unbelievable to watch an athlete of that caliber. But then you just see how well-rounded this team is. Like, so, Ava Cusack, and there's all these people just step up in big moments. And I mean, I think it's going to be a bunch of nail biters in Knoxville, but I don't. I like Nebraska's chances. I think they're confident. I think they can go do it. And women's softball's a great watch. It's great theater. I mean, I was watching Southeastern Louisiana, LSU, and was it the Friday night game, and they're just going back and forth. And it's just such a great sport where, one team will score 2 runs, someone else will answer with 3. It just has a great back and forth rhythm to it. And so hopefully Husker Nation is all in on it, because we're seeing something just incredible with Jordy. And I like how Rhonda Revelle said, it's not like I say that she's going to do this, and this, but when she does those things, I'm just not surprised. I thought that was such a great way to put it.
Yeah, it is. This has been a fun run. It's such a great television sport as well.
It is.
So it should be fun this weekend in Knoxville. BC, as always, thanks for your time. Have a good holiday weekend.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
See you, Brian.
Brian Christopherson. Let me read an email here. This is from a guy named Jeremy about Jordy Ball, but more about Papillion LaVista and Todd Peterson. Let's see here. Let me stiff through this. I wonder if there is ever a comparable high school to Papio anywhere else in the U.S., given the population of the school and the population of the state. The school has produced 3 pitchers to start World Series games. Wow. Jordy Ball with Oklahoma, Carissa Hoving with Oregon. Was that about a decade ago? She went to Papillion LaVista, but that was about a decade ago. She was at Oregon. And then Peaches James with Nebraska. Also doesn't take into account Courtney Wallace at Nebraska, who had an unbelievable career.
She was great.
So there you go. Well, hey, the Papillion LaVista softball program, which is a wagon, has produced some bangers. Yeah, Todd runs a great program over there. But I've said this from the jump. The 2 best softball players in the history of this state both came from the same high school 20 years apart.
Incredible.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive for the old Monarchs.
I loved yesterday during our Nate Rohr interview when he brought up Courtney Wallace and Olivia Farrell, and the fact that those are 2 names that necessarily aren't going to go down in like the history books or the Mount Rushmore of Nebraska softball, but 2 players who were really, really good on good teams who, like he said, stabilized the program. And it's just like it's players like that who may not necessarily be the All-Americans or the All-Stars, but have like lasting impacts. I like it when we talk about those players. Like same thing when we talk about Emmanuel Bandamel, right? And the impact that, but I mean, I know with how the basketball season ended, like it's a little jokey now, but like he did kind of reset that culture for basketball. I just like talking about those cats.
All right, we'll take a break. Come back with more of Gary and Matt after this. Sad news out of Lincoln and the Union. Did you see what is out?
No, did not. I did not see what was out.
Steak and Shake
Oh, no.
is out. They have lost their spot in the union.
Oh,
So
in the student union. I was
Yeah.
very confused. I thought you were talking about like a workers' union for a second. Can I
Yes, the local.
Can I be honest with you?
Sure.
That Steak and Shake
Mhm.
very rarely open in the student union.
Really?
Very rarely was open.
it's a
You would walk in, it would be caged off and everything like that. And then when you would go there, we talk about like the decline of service in the fast food industry. Big decline. Okay. If you ever wanted an actual shake there, just go to the library, buy a book, sit down and read for a while because it probably wasn't coming out for about 25 minutes.
Wow. Those are your fellow
It was not-
classmates that were working there.
It was a terribly run Steak and Shake. Absolutely
That's disappointing. I was never there, but I was like, oh, we have one in Nebraska for the first time. I
Not
was
anymore.
going to go.
They had a great
Oh.
patty melt though. Like
Frisco melts works.
an all-star Frisco melt.
Like, what were the hours that they were open?
There were no hours.
11 to
You would-
11:30.
Whenever.
You would walk in and be like, "Oh, it's open today," and you would go there and you would go and grab it, and then you would walk in being like, "Oh, I'd like some Steak and Shake,"
Was it
and then it
front?
wouldn't be open.
Was Los Pollos Hermanos?
No,
Well, they've had some of the staples that are there, like Chick-fil-A, I guess, is expanding. They got the, was it Imperial Palace? There's another one.
yeah, that I like.
The
that.
Runza,
There's
the
not a
Bur-
Runza. No, there's a Valentino's, an
Yeah.
Imperial Palace, a Subway.
Is the
a
Burger
Steak and
King still
Shake.
there?
Nope, no BK. Now the
What-
BK is no, it's not in the Union. Isn't there? I think there's a Burger. There might be a Burger King.
There used to be a
around
Burger
town.
King in the Union.
You have those places
Yours
that are
too,
inside
huh?
the Union, and then you have the Wendy's, which is terribly run on Q Street. It's
Damn.
awful. It's absolutely terrible, even worse than.
And you know
Steak
how
Shake.
you and I feel about Wendy's. So
Yeah,
this
no,
is
I
rough.
absolutely love Wendy's, but it was the worst run fast food food chain I've ever been to in my entire life, outside of the Steak and Shake that was in the Union. And then shout out to the Arby's though, next to the College of Journalism. They ran a tight ship over there. You walked in there, you go, I'll just get my classic beef and cheese. They handed it right to you. They let you take all the Arby's sauce in the world. You walked on out. You went to Anderson Hall. You
I
ate
hope
your
so,
sandwich.
because this is America.
You have that Panda Express over there too, in that area.
Is that what it's called? I think I called it Imperial Palace.
No. The Panda Express is across the
Oh.
street outside of the Union. Imperial Palace, that is like your kind of rinky-dink Chinese restaurant that everybody has in their community, but they put it in the Union. Okay. They are running with the old school 1972 cash register. They're still using pen and paper to take your order.
Like the credit card
The
where-
menu is way too big. There are way too many options. You can get rice with just about any sort of sauce and meat you can think of. And then on top of that, incredibly, I think the staple of any rinky-dink community Chinese restaurant is they do one of the sides really, really well. They do crab rangoons incredibly over there at that Imperial Palace.
If you're a prospective student at UNL, I don't know what you'd think after hearing all that.
Look, everybody knows that the best dining deal is you get the 15 swipes plus your N bucks. Okay, that way you can mix and match. You can, hey, I'm going to go to Abel Hall. I'll have a swipe, whatever. Or you can go to the Union, use some of your N bucks, get Chick-fil-A, get Subway. Subway's pretty good over there, but they were always mad at you at the Subway. Anytime you would go to that.
This is
Subway,
not a glowing recommendation
No,
of
no.
places
not at
in
all.
the Union.
No,
this is me crossing off Nebraska
you would-
off the
you
list.
Would, you would walk up to that. You would walk up to the Subway. They'd be like, "What do you want? What do you want?" Okay,
a sandwich, obviously.
there were multiple times.
These are your fellow
no,
students.
no. The Subway people were grown people. They were grown men and women.
Maybe they were
And-
non-traditional students.
And they were.
I mean, they weren't Oompa
there were
Loompas behind the counter?
There were multiple times where I was on my phone. I was waiting them to put the meat down, and then I looked up, and they were really, really mad at me because I was looking at my phone, not telling them that I wanted jalapenos, pickles, and lettuce on my Subway sandwich.
Wow. Don't go to Nebraska.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
No,
You know what?
go
Just
to Nebraska.
Go straight to the workforce.
Go to Nebraska. Nebraska
over.
is a great place to go.
Y'all
to
gonna
school.
be everybody's gonna be working in a factory, so don't worry about it. You
But
don't
if-
have to go to college anymore.
But if you're eating at the Union, right? If you're eating at the student union, you got some limited options when it comes to having yourself fulfilled in terms of
I just will take an
Courtesy.
Uncrustable with you.
and food. Now the Chick-fil-A, astounding, incredible,
It is.
right? But it's
It's our pleasure.
But it's Chick-fil-A. It's the standard. It's the championship standard of service.
Just not on Sunday.
You're never going to go to I wouldn't expect anything less from a Chick-fil-A. I'm not impressed by the Chick-fil-A because that's what Chick-fil-A is.
A backhanded compliment.
No, I'm not. And that's what I expect. Nothing less.
Chicken.
That's the standard.
And
The
bread.
Starbucks there, way too overcrowded. We got way too many Alpha Pi Psi Sigma Kappa people just ordering way too many drinks to go, where it's like you're standing, you're just like, oh my God, it's an empty line. And it takes you 25 minutes to get your drink because they have the most complicated orders.
Did you get bullied as a kid?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. There's also, speaking of food, I think of iconic Omaha shots. Is it required? And because we're getting into that time of the year when we're going to have a lot of visitors to this fine community, and they're going to go to the Drover. That if you go to the Drover Steakhouse and you're not a regular, you're not the smart one that says, you know what, I'll save some money and go for lunch. That you must take a picture of the Drover Steakhouse sign. Dan Mullen, the UNLV head football coach who was in town the other day.
Yeah.
He went to the Drover, took a picture.
Nice.
He was in town recruiting. Then I noticed the Big Ten BTN crew. They were all at the Drover yesterday.
Oh,
and of course, they all had to share a picture of the Drover Steakhouse sign. Is it required if you are a visitor? Like, if you go to the Visitors Bureau downtown, do they say, hey,
is it on your passport?
one of the things to check it off, you go to the Drover, you've got to take a picture of the sign.
What would be other niche weird things that you have to do around Omaha that would be checked off on the traveler's box?
I don't know, but I love the Drover.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, tweet your meat.
See,
but we do, but I would be more into, a lot of people take pictures of the food and they put it up on the gram. I want pictures of iconic signs. Like Gratz. Okay. The old Venice Inn, which doesn't exist anymore. Caniglia's, Cassio's.
I'm
Take
fine.
a picture of the sign outside.
Our marquee outside.
I don't need to see your meat. I'd look at your sign though. But the Drover Steakhouse has got to be per volume in the most pictures. And get ready because College World Series is coming, and they'll be coming to the Drover.
I'm fine with tweeting your meat or tubing your meat because then I find out where the good meat is.
Is tubing your meat to put it on YouTube?
Yeah, on the YouTube Shorts.
Do I have YouTube Shorts?
YouTube Shorts. If you have YouTube, you have YouTube Shorts. So it's like,
no, I'd rather be on TikTok. I like my TikTok more than I like my YouTube Shorts.
I'm a YouTube Shorts guy. And so my YouTube Shorts is full of just restaurants and people who are reviewing things and like crispy pizza and whatnot. And then like showing you how they make stuff. I like tubing your meat.
I never heard that before.
I don't like
I'm looking forward to doing that
See,
again after Friday.
See, here's my thing though.
Oh, boy.
I'm actually more mad at the people who take a picture and don't tweet the meat, who just take the picture to take the picture.
Shout out,
like,
Brett
what
Favre.
are you?
I've got that. That's me. I'd have that in my phone.
Like, yeah, what are you doing with that?
The
picture?
next time I come to the restaurant, I know what I want.
You don't remember it from what you ordered on the menu?
I don't. Maybe like a couple years in between.
Yeah.
I'm getting old.
Do you
I'm forgetful.
have you ever showed them the picture of what you had previously, and you're like, hey, I want this again?
No, that'd be a little bit too much. But like, I notice what I ordered.
See, if I just feel
I'm not
distracted.
going to tube my meat.
Tube Shorts your meat.
I'll stick to my TikTok.
Yeah.
Before we get to Don here, news from Omaha Athletics. You guys got all nervous. You think something big is happening?
You always present things like very solemnly to the point where I do think is a big deal. And then it's at this point, we're kind of 50-50 on whether or not they're good jokes or actual things that
They're
happen.
doming Caniglia Field.
No.
Okay.
But they are for, they've slowly started to release the non-con for hockey. They will start to release some new additions to hockey, but that is not what I'm talking about here. Stand up Omaha West Side High School, Reaver Baseball. He had a hell of a year. Henry Zippe is the player of the year in the Summit League. Henry, what did he end up hitting? I didn't follow him this weekend. Okay, so he ended up hitting .415 in conference play. Went to West Side, then went to Iowa Western. Now is the starting third baseman. He is the Summit League player
That's incredible.
of the year. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Evan's program. That's a big deal to be a team that is, what are they, third seed? That, struggled a little bit, but Henry's had a monster year. That's awesome for him. Okay. People are asking questions about tubing your meat. But first, here's Don. Good morning, Don.
Morning, Gary.
Good morning, Don.
Matt.
Good morning,
Jimmy,
Don.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Is this going to be about
First
tubing your
off,
meat?
as a former Reaver myself, I appreciate the Reaver love. That's awesome. Love hearing about them.
Hey, since they redid baseball, I mean they're a banger in both of those sports, in baseball and softball. Their complex over there in Council Bluffs on campus, when they redid it and they got the nice donation, that is a really, really nice junior college facility that a lot of people around here go over and use because it's all turf and it's really nice and easy to get to.
Wasn't like that in 92, 93, trust me.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Different ball game, literally.
Yes.
If Steak and Shake were a strip club, would that be like men and women's sports?
Let's go. Thank you, Don.
Don, that's incredible. I decline to answer.
No.
I decline.
Can't plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth.
Oh, I mean, that may be.
And by the way, if we're going to talk about these fine establishments, there's only 2 cities in the United States that matter, and that's Atlanta and Vegas.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no Tampa?
Oh, Atlanta's a gold mine.
I've never been to Tampa. Your description is interesting, though.
Mons Venus, yes.
Yeah.
I saw a professional athlete there when I was there last time.
Not shocking.
Yeah, I don't have much material today, guys. I just
Don,
had to
thanks for
chime in on this.
I appreciate that. That's some of your best work, though,
go.
about Steak and Shake. There you go.
He's right about Atlanta, though. Famous.
Hey,
athletes.
I got lured into Quentin Jammer. Remember him from Texas?
Damn good.
He was having his draft party at a strip club in Austin that we went to on a Nebraska baseball weekend.
Take that shit.
That's awesome.
Well, because I'd never been to a place where you bring your own alcohol.
Oh,
yeah. I've never been there.
God bless.
So it's
Texas.
like, do people have coolers in there?
Like, no coolers, but there was a package store next door.
Really?
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
I don't know how
it's like a NASCAR race.
I don't know how we ended up there.
You
reminds me of the outhouse in Lawrence.
Never do. You never do.
If I told you, no, I can't. I was going to say, if I told you, I have been to 2 strip clubs with a former voice of the Huskers. Tell me which voice that was. I bet you would not get it right. You don't have to say this on air. I'm just saying. I just realized in my head because of who I was with on that baseball trip. And then we had the night in Fremont at the Lariat Club.
And
you got to pay to play. It was very chintzy. Wasn't throwing dollars on it was holding on. And this lady came over and she said, if you got to pay to play.
I can't wait for my career in broadcasting. Oh, the places you'll go.
Fremont, he just told you.
That is true. That no longer exists in Fremont. They've cleaned up Fremont. So Henry Zappe is the player of the year in the Summit League and the freshman of the year in the Big East. Wilson Majors, who has turned into a really good weekend starter for them. That has just been announced. Let me see if they've announced anybody. No, Wilson Majors is the freshman of the year. There you go. All right.
Are the Big Ten awards coming out this week, or is that after the tournament?
I would think they're coming out today.
Okay.
I have not seen a release from the Big Ten, but they are 21 minutes away from first pitch. Let's see what they're airing on BTN. Oh, they have their special series, like The Journey.
Yeah.
They do it for baseball and softball called At the Plate. So no live programming leading in like a preview of the tournament.
Because why would there be?
Exactly. Hold on here. The Big East announces weird awards. Oh. The Big East doesn't announce the coach of the year. It's the coaching staff of the year, which goes to Creighton.
Hey,
I've never heard that before.
That's kind of weird.
They don't do the coach of the year?
Well, it kind of is the coaching staff of the year at Creighton.
Well, kudos to Ed and his staff, but all right.
Good for them.
Good for them. Good for baseball.
Baseball.
Starts at 10 a.m., top of the hour. Nebraska plays at 6 tonight against Michigan State. We'll share some thoughts on that. Also, game 1 of Minnesota and Oklahoma. You okay over there?
Hey, I'm getting that all back.
All right.
Feeling good today.
Oklahoma City, Minnesota. Those drugs have kicked in. And then you have Florida, Carolina tonight.
Shout out Percocet.
All of that as we lead you into the crossover on this Tuesday on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you know something I haven't heard in a while? What happened to the torpedo bat controversy?
Well, the Yankees, it's only the Yankees who use it.
You know who's somebody who has a very interesting career arc? Last night hit his 300th career home run. Kyle Schwarber.
It is one of the weirder career arcs, if we're being honest, because the Cubs let him go, and they should have.
Mm-hmm.
Like they should have let him go. He was not producing in the spot that they needed him to produce, and he didn't really deserve the money that he was asking for. And then, honestly, the shift of the MLB, just everybody being okay with guys hitting 40 home runs and hitting 220, kind of happened. Like we delved more into that style of baseball when he went to Philadelphia. Now he's like a hero. He's like a Philly hero.
And that'll make Mets fans really happy with Juan Soto not getting to second after hitting one off the wall yesterday. Phillies are in first place, but Kyle Schwarber this year is hitting better against left-handed pitching than he is right-handed pitching. He has 147 home runs in his 3 years and a month in a Philly uniform. I would not have pegged Kyle Schwarber. By the way, Big Ten alum Kyle Schwarber.
Bloomington, Indiana. Kyle Schwarber probably has like 3 to 4 years left of really good baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He's 32 right now.
300 home runs.
So I'll say he probably goes 3 more years of being in that 30 to 40 range of bombs. Do we remember him more as a Philly or more as a Cub?
Cub.
Okay.
Won a World Series. What do you remember Brett Favre as?
Packer. But when his career is done,
people will remember Brett Favre probably after watching the Netflix special Untold that just dropped.
Did it just drop? I'm watching that today.
Came out today.
I'm going to watch it today.
What do people associate Brett Favre most with? If I say Brett Favre, you think of what?
Him taking money away from very poor people,
not Jen Sturger,
and giving it to a volleyball team. That's what I remember him by. I do. That's what I think of him now. And that and interceptions.
That guy always losing to the Cowboys.
That guy threw a lot of interceptions. When I think of Brett Favre, I think of forcing the football. That's what I think of. That's like the first phrase that I think of.
Days.
Jimmy, what do you associate Brett Favre with?
Losing to the Cowboys in the playoffs, but that's just a me thing. But honestly, in all seriousness, no, the Green Bay Packers. He'll always be a Green Bay Packer.
He'll always be a Green Bay
In fact,
Packer.
I think of Brett Favre more than Aaron Rodgers, but then again, look at my age, my generation.
But Schwarber will have the same amount of years played with Philly as he will with the Cubs at the end of it.
But he's a World Series champion.
But he went to the World Series with the Phillies. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think it's he'll have a very interesting career where it'll be 7 years with the Cubs, 7 years with the Phillies, and he was effective on both runs in that. I cannot wait to watch that Brett Favre.
It's an onslaught of the character of Brett Favre, and it's not good. I guess they have threatened the person behind it.
With what?
But it's because it is damning. I mean, there's probably no new information, but it is it does not help the cause of Brett Favre, who post NFL career, everything is. I mean, there hasn't been super positive stuff. Maybe the most positive stuff is some of the conversations he's had with Aaron Rodgers. But think about Brett Favre's career. If they win in the Superdome, if he gets that Viking team to the Super Bowl, with everything that went into that game, which I think is one of the most ferocious games I've ever watched.
They were one play away from at least a winning field goal attempt.
Oh, it was Adrian Peterson fumble.
Yeah.
But if
we think of him differently.
If he goes to the Super Bowl in a Viking uniform at that age, I mean, he's still going to be a Hall of Famer no matter what.
Yeah.
But just the things you would add when you think of Brett Favre, because I'm just reading reviews on this. You're not putting Favre up for Man of the Year after you watch this. But yeah, the producer said he was threatened by the Favre camp numerous times as he was working to get interviews.
It's going to make you side with Jerry Glanville for trading him.
So,
started his career as a Falcon. People forget.
Yeah.
People do forget. Is he a top 10 quarterback of all time?
He the what?
Is he a top 10 quarterback, Brett Favre, all time? Because I think if he beats if he beats New Orleans and gets to that Super Bowl, I think that you could probably...
He's just outside of the top 10.
He has to win it with the Vikings because nobody has ever done it with the Vikings. Yeah. So if he wins a Super Bowl with the Vikings, that's heroic.
Oh, that's done. He is a top 10 quarterback. That's
Biggest
why
Minnesota sports accomplishment since Gordon Bombay.
I think
Kirby Puckett.
if funny in
Hey,
a
you might have
way.
Ant-Man and Kirby Puckett could be linked here if the Timberwolves win an NBA title.
If you really think about it, I do think that Brett Favre, in a weird way, is underrated as a quarterback because we make a lot of the jokes about the interceptions and the turnovers and forcing the football and whatnot. But he played damn near every game. He always showed up. He was incredibly electric.
Got the crap beaten out of him. Different rules.
He ignited, like he was a easy player to play with. He was an easy player for a fan to root for, just in terms of his style of play. Like
I thought of him taking my painkillers last week.
An entire city. Yet his stupid decisions off the field have just completely marred his career, in my opinion, because I don't really think of Brett Favre the player anymore. I think of Brett Favre the human.
No, I think there's a conversation. He's either just outside of the 10 or he's like 8, 9, 10. That run, I mean, what, 3 straight MVPs?
Oh, yeah.
In the mid-90s. He was 20 years in the league, 19 as a starter, won a Super Bowl.
Damn near won a second one the year after.
Yeah.
Is he still in the top 5 all-time passing yards, I believe? And touchdowns.
We just don't talk about, even before all this hubbubaloo went down of what he did in his personal life. We never really talked about Brett Favre. I feel like as like, oh, he's one of the greatest of all time, but he definitely was.
You can watch that. It is on Netflix.
So what about the baseball?
Well, I don't know, because of the weather, the Big Ten Network is not working. I just thought they showed a shot outside. Couple of quick things here on postseason honors. So Dom Cancelleri is the Big East Pitcher of the Year, well deserved.
Yep.
He just doesn't have enough innings to be in the discussion for national rankings and ERA. I think he's close. Wilson Majors is the Freshman of the Year, the pitcher, and then the coaching staff of the year. They don't name. What are they pulling, a Big Ten? They don't name.
Why would you not just name a singular coach?
I don't know,
What
it's
is the
great.
point?
Everybody gets a ribbon.
And then Henry Zapay is the Summit League Player of the Year. The Big Ten has not announced their awards yet, and they're about to start the conference tournament. They'll get around to it before they leave Omaha.
No, guys, we got to make sure that we release the graphics for football before we release the awards for baseball.
So quick inside baseball here.
Oh, hey.
When you went to apply for Big Ten baseball credentials, it sent you to the Big Ten football media days.
Yep, there you go.
All right.
There you go.
All right, Ty Horn throws tonight for Nebraska. Throwing, I like it. When he has pitched of late, Nebraska's done well. They've won 4 of their last 5. Plus, he's a guy that'll probably give you at least 5. They're going to face, as your buddy said, the Walmart Chris Sale.
Yes. Stuff and arm
Joseph Giroir, the big left-hander who will be drafted in July. They have to score some runs tonight because you're going to strike out. I think the Oma Skurs begin the road. How far will it go? But I think it begins tonight.
I think they win tonight. I do. I think it'll be there.
Let us have Friday.
And then they're going to get their butts whooped on Friday. But tonight, we hit with them. Tonight, we pitch with them, and we shut them down because we can.
You'd have to mix in a little bit extra language if that's Will, given that speech.
Sure.
All right, big thanks to Sam Mcun and Brian Christopherson. We'll talk about the ball, y'all. Also, I got Oklahoma City in 7.
Wolves in 6.
Minnesota.
Should be a fun series.
New York in 7.
Just all those turnovers by the Wolves. All right, we'll discuss all that when we reconvene for a midday edition of Gary and Matt. Coming up tomorrow at 6. Crossovers next.